you
Sure
been
is.
doing, guys?
Shoot, living, loving, having a good time.
Not too
How about
bad.
y'all?
Been getting back into Star Trek lately. It's just weird.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Have you ever just randomly find something that you're just like, oh, I haven't seen this in a while, and then, all of a sudden you're like knee deep in it again. You're like, what the fuck? Where'd this come from?
Usually happens with podcasts with me. Like I go back and go through old archive stuff, or better yet, going through YouTube channels and finding entire like series that I've already watched. Like they've gone through like a 50, 60, 70 part game, and it's like, I feel like I watched that again.
Something about the human brain and reruns. I don't know why. It's just like, I remember this moment. Let me go see that moment again.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan.
No?
Nope.
Are you a medium-sized fan?
Not a fan of reruns or not a fan of Star Trek?
Reruns.
Damn. So you watch it once and you're just done with it.
Yeah, same with the video games typically.
Huh.
I mean, I can see it.
So you got like one of those like photographic memories to where you can recall in vivid detail all the stuff, or you never, I don't know.
I'll recall most of it, but it's rarely as fun the second time around, and I could be taking that time to be playing something new.
I guess that kind of makes sense on some. I like to go back and I like to re-experience things sometimes, because sometimes I like misremember exactly what was said, or seeing just kind of seeing it with new context of like things that happen later. Like in Star Trek, you get to see like the evolution of different characters over time. And I was like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. Yeah, I remember when this thing happened. Let me go find that real quick. And I just watched a little snippet of the scene. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember what he said then. Oh, that makes sense. So I don't know. I find that kind of stuff at least mildly amusing. If I don't have time, if I was gonna be doing something else anyway, just fucking flipping through random YouTube channels or something, something like that would be. It's not a complete waste, at least not in my mind.
Yeah, just all my life I've watched reruns, movies repeatedly, TV shows repeatedly, games repeatedly. I don't know. If I like it, I'll play through it again. Don't really have a good reason why or explanation why. I just do it. Especially if the content's good enough. I mean, I don't know. I never really had to explain it, so I don't really have an explanation. I just know that I do. I know it stems a lot. It does stem from a lot of stuff from my childhood too. Like I was a latchkey kid, so I only had access to certain things, and I only had access to those things. So I think the Goonies movie for me was one of the starts of it. I'm sure I've seen Goonies well over 200 or 300 times, because that's just like one of 4 movies I had at the house that I had access to. So when I come home,
Goonies, really?
Yeah. So when I came home from school and mom and dad wasn't there for hours on end, I just popped in the Goonies and did homework, or just actually watched the movie repeatedly.
Wow.
Jurassic Park was the same way too. Like I've seen Jurassic Park, and same thing, an uncountable amount of times. It is my favorite movie of all time, not just because I watched it. That it's just also my favorite movie. But yeah, there's I don't know. I mean, I get it. I can see the mentality of, hey, if I'm just constantly ingesting only new material, it can propel you forward to seeing new things. But at the same time, if something's good, I'm gonna watch it again. Like Infinity War, I've seen that movie over 10 times so far. I know it. I know what's gonna happen. It's not like it's something new every time I watch it. Maybe I'll find some new there may be some new scenes here and there, but it's not like a whole new experience.
Yeah, I think the only time I would probably watch Infinity War again would be right before the next one comes out, just to get that refresher.
Yeah.
But I might watch it one other time besides that, but nah.
Like see all the details and stuff like that. Like, okay, this is where this guy left off, and this is where that guy left off, and this dude's dead, and that dude's alive, and blah, blah, blah. I get you. I don't know. I just get the wild hair up my ass sometimes. Be like, yeah, I remember this scene and I want to see it again right now. So, I don't know. It's just one of the. Maybe it's just unique to me. I don't know, but it's not like a routine thing like what you were saying with the Goonies or anything like that. It was just random stuff. It could be it could be Star Trek one day. It could be Suikoden. It could be anything.
Yeah, and I mean, the Goonies and Jurassic Park are extreme cases. That's not something I do today. Obviously, there are movies that I've watched many, many times over, but that was very specific situation, you know, for several months, a few years on end. It's just that's all I had access to.
I get you.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're repeating ourselves over repeating games and movies, but
that's because you know you don't like listening to old episodes of the podcast. Is that what you're saying?
I'm trying to think.
I like to hear myself talk, so I just play it 24/7.
To quote Josh from the Continue show, used to be Continue Cast. Man, I don't even listen to my own podcast, and I'm the guy that produces it. I feel the same way.
Damn.
I don't know what it is. It's not nothing against us. Obviously, we make this fucking show, but I think it's because of so many other podcasts that I listen to. I don't have time for us. Sorry. I listen to a good bit of it during post, but like going back and like revisiting older episodes, I haven't done it yet. I feel like I will. I feel like once we start getting past the 100, 120 mark, I'll probably start listening to them. But no, podcasts as well. That's another form of media that I do listen to a lot of them repeatedly. Of course, now with the Super Best Friends cast being pretty much defunct, and which I have a slight update for that. Apparently, there's the MagFest going on right now, and they're supposed to have some kind of update, or we're hoping they're going to have an update. But I've noticed that I will obviously, since they don't produce any new content right now, I have been going back and listening to older episodes and other podcasts that don't have a metric fuck ton of episodes, like fantasy fiction. I think in total fantasy fiction has like 70 or 80 something episodes, so I do go back and listen to them as well, again because they're not around anymore, unfortunately. Giant Bomb, however, is still going to this day. They are approaching their 600s, which is insane. They have been producing podcasts for over a decade now, so even though I do watch their new podcasts, I say watch because they do theirs live and they do shows, they do video. Even though I do keep up with their content as it comes out, I am nowhere near getting all their old episodes caught up. It took me a while just to get all their episodes numbered correctly, which I'm sure they would disagree with the numbers, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Now, that's actual physical numbered episodes too. That's not counting every Game of the Year deliberation is like 5, 6, 7, 8 episodes. That's not counting extra grouped episodes. So yeah. I don't know. I
opened up a can of worms with this, huh?
Well, it's a topic. It's something to talk about. But yeah, I do. And also there are times where I will watch movies and or shows, and I will just declare those as one-time watches. Like if it's an okay thing, if it's anything that's like okay to garbage, of course I'm only gonna watch it once. But
here's a question: Would you watch Bone Tomahawk again?
I have actually watched that movie about 2 or 3 times, just to marvel at just in awe of what that movie did, the balls that movie had. It's not for the faint of heart. It's not something I would wish everybody to do. I'm not saying you're gonna find the greatest cinematography out there in the world, but it is a very well shot movie. Thank you, Adam, for plugging fucking Bone Tomahawk on the podcast.
That's right. That's right. I mean, we spent probably like at least an hour talking about it.
And you still haven't seen it yet. Still haven't seen it yet, but I'm hyping it up. That's the problem. I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to roll in this, because now you're going to be oversensitive to it. Now, when it does happen, you're going to be, oh, that wasn't what you said. Just
no. There's nothing about the act has been doing. So far it's been nothing but questions like, oh well, how would Rico Rodriguez fare in this situation? Oh, he'd be fucked. Well, shit. Okay, well, how would Solid Snake handle this? Oh, he'd be fucked too. God damn it.
Chris has seen these tactics before, where he's asking questions, but he's really trying to prod to spoil things. I know you.
No. I just want I'm just trying to place them on the metric so I know where I'm looking.
Yeah.
To be like, okay, well, these guys are, there's absolutely no defense against them. No, if if you throw Superman in that mix, he'd own ass. He'd be like, dude, get the fuck away from me.
Okay, there are only a handful of movies out there for me, and I'm not trying to act like I'm some over fucking hardcore calloused individual that can watch all kind of crap. I feel that, given the nature of the shit that I've seen in media, I feel I can handle a lot of harsh things. I can handle a lot of certain things. And even with me saying that, there are a handful of movies that I've seen that have pushed my limits for, that was rough. Megan is Missing is one of them. It comes straight to mind. That's a story about a girl that gets kidnapped. I guess you could kind of say for me that Blair Witch was the same. That was one of the first kind of like make me scared shitless in the daytime movies. And Bone Tomahawk definitely is. It's set in an old Western film. It's like, it was shot in like the late 2000s, but it's set in the Wild West ish. And it's about a sheriff that I can't remember the exact details of like if he used to be in this town and he left and became a sheriff and came back, or if he was always a sheriff and then he like went around the countryside sheriffing shit and then came back. I don't know. I can't remember. But either way, is it not Michael Douglas? Shit. Kurt Russell. Jesus. Man,
Kurt
Russell plays the sheriff. He's the protagonist of the story, and he comes to the town, and some shit's going down. And people are like, "Yeah, look, there's some fucking weird shit going on. People are coming up missing. People are being fucking mutilated, and we're pretty sure it's like these weird Native Americans or weird savages, these tribal people right outside the border of town. We're not fucking with it. Can you go check it out?" And he gets drug into it. An inciting incident happens in town. He's like, all right, wrangle up these 5-6 fucking bomb-ass awesome Western gunslingers, and we're gonna go fucking handle this shit. And they go, and they get fucked up. That's the most that I'll tell you guys. Adam has squeezed out a little bit more than that here and there, but you just know that there comes a point where that movie just fucking nosedives, and I don't mean in quality at all. The movie is well shot. It's got a lot of great cinematography. It's got a lot of good acting. It's paced and it's shot and paced very, very well. But there comes a point where it's like, you better buckle the fuck in. If you've made it this far, you're gonna start coming upon some shit where you're gonna want to stop the movie or leave, or either that or buckle in, because it goes hard in.
See, because the thing about this is like, I almost don't want to watch it, and here's why. If I watch it, it's like, it's like I open the box.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because now it's all hyped up in my head, and if I keep it there, we could talk about this forever.
Yeah.
But if I watch it, then it's okay. Yeah. Okay,
I mean,
cool.
It's gonna ruin the magic if we keep talking about it forever, and then you actually don't ever see it.
Even if it's the most awesome movie ever, it can't be as awesome as what I'm imagining. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of at this weird impasse where I'm like, oh, what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
So.
And also, again, I really want to stress this, because this is a pet peeve of mine. I am totally not saying that this is the worst, grossest, most horrific thing that you're ever going to see in cinema. One, much like video games, I haven't seen everything in cinema or television. R-rated, NC-17, whatever. As gory and I've seen August Underground Mortem, for those that, God, anybody that just cringed when I brought that title up. That was probably the most horrific thing that I've ever seen in a movie style situation. But I'm saying this as a preface so that when you, audience, go watch this and you get to these parts and you go, meh, okay, well, cool, awesome for you. There may or may not be other things in cinema that are gonna fuck you over. This one definitely did for me. It was one of a small handful of things that made me wasn't ready for it at all. And again,
it just kind of sends that little tingle down your spine, you know?
All that, it's wrapped around a good movie, period. I mean, the movie itself is damn good. It's a hero's story, so to speak, but it does not play out at all the way you think it's going to play. So I recommend it for anybody out there, as I could recommend movies all day. But first, let's get to this part. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the end of time. I'm Michael.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Adam.
That's right. That's how we do it. We roll in from fucking bone tomahawk pushing to here's the episode, folks.
That's right.
And since we've done some movie talk already, if you gentlemen don't mind, I'll roll into my week first because I do have some movies to push right out of the way.
Go for it.
I managed to squeeze out, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 movies. Won't be too long because only a couple of them were worth really talking about. So, A Star Is Born. This is and forgive me, I know she has a four name, actual name, but this is Lady Gaga's debut film. And it was pretty good. I mean, it's a really good love / a girl that has a voice, gets discovered, and now she's a fucking superstar story. Think Eminem, but Lady Gaga's story. Less rap and more, awesome voice, good female vocal story.
She's getting into female vocal battles with all the other hot chicks that live in her neighborhood.
Kind of got me a little emotional toward the end. I wasn't expecting the way the story was going to go, but it was pretty good. And this is another one of those movies where the actor involved. Now, Lady Gaga, fucking duh, we already know she is a vocalist. She is a performing artist. She uses her talent as a singer. So her coming into this role, which is a singer, is nothing new. But, and I forget his name, Bradley Cooper. I don't know anything about his personal life other than I know he is a damn good actor, and he was in this movie playing the guitar, he was playing the piano, was up on stage singing live. Has a good voice too. So this it kind of reminds me of Whiplash. I think I pushed that movie on the podcast before. That's another movie where a guy, I don't know the personal life. I don't know if it's something they did in high school or maybe it's a side hobby of theirs as well as them being an actor, but he practiced the ever-loving fuck out of himself for Whiplash and can play the drums in real life as badass as they are on stage. So it's really cool to see that. I love to see actors that go that far in. I mean, just for the general person of a purpose of a person just going out and buying a guitar and an amp and sitting down and playing for a few hours a day, it takes a long fucking time to get good with any instrument. Yeah. So all the shit involved around playing a role and studying for a role, and on top of, we want, I'm going to be badass with this guitar and this piano. Woo! Hats off, man.
You hear a lot about like actors like Hugh Jackman had to like work out a shit ton for Wolverine.
Yeah.
Like he went. You watch the first X-Men movie, and then you watch the second, third, fourth, etc. Wolverine goes from being like, he looks like a decently built, average guy, to being like, Jesus fucking Christ, look at this dude. He's shredded. So I mean, and I've always kind of admired that about actors is, you'll see them like, oh, well, you got to put on 80 pounds for this role. Okay, dog.
Oh, yeah.
So they're at McDonald's every day destroying their life to make this movie. And,
Christian Bale comes to mind when you say that. He has gone through radical changes in his life, in his acting career, being 210, slightly built dad bod to like a scrawny 97-pound man for another movie, and then back up to he's done this 2 or 3 or 4 times in his career. That's kind of incredible. It's kind of scary also, but kind of incredible.
Yeah.
Something came through my YouTube feed probably a couple weeks ago, I think, is a guy that would is be a YouTube military
ad.
Oh, probably multiple times. But There was a guy that he's like a military liaison or something for the movie industry or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about having to work with the I can't remember the actor's name, but he played Chris Kyle in the last little sniper movie.
Same guy from Star is Born, Chris Bradley.
Yeah. So he was talking. He's like, "Oh man, this guy's got to put on 80 pounds of muscle, and we've got 12 weeks."
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm not sure if I can make this. I'm not sure if this is feasible." But they showed him bench pressing or not deadlifting, 400 pounds
in the movie.
Yeah. And he was like, "That shit ain't fake.
Nope.
He can really do that now."
Yeah. That's
holy shit.
That is a wake up scene in that movie too. It just hard cuts to this man fucking deadlifting 400 pounds up and down and up and down. And it's like, nah, those are not fake plates. That's legit.
Yeah.
So it's awesome to see.
Major props to any actor that takes their job that serious. That's the epitome of professionalism right there, to go that far into a role.
Yeah. And see, we're gonna have an actor. We're gonna have another movie cast someday, but
I find that the stories behind stuff like that is almost as interesting as the movies themselves.
Yeah. An interesting tidbit that I didn't learn. This apparently has been around the movie industry for decades, and I've just never heard it brought to the limelight, or I've never heard it brought to my attention. Had it brought to my attention that, so there's a common theme for actors and to get into a role, and it's called method acting. They study something and they try to mimic it and parrot it, or I'm going into the role as a carpenter. That's that guy's job. Well, I'm gonna go work as a carpenter for fucking 6 months with an industry and go learn all the tools of the trade. I'm gonna learn how to work a saw and learn how to work a hammer and all this stuff. Come to find out, there is a division in the movie industry where you have the method actors and you have the "why the fuck are you method acting? Why don't you just act?" mentality. That blew my mind. There are reasons why actors get shunned, not only in the Oscars or Grammys or whatever, the Oscars, the Golden Globes and shit, but also fellow actors shun them because they're like, "Yeah, I didn't do that. I just do my job and act." That's such a gray ground that I don't like at all. I don't care if you method act or if you are just naturally a god-talented actor. If you put it on the stage and the screen, I don't care how you did it. Bravo to you.
Yeah, I mean,
that's crazy.
Think about it,
that exists. Like, no, man. Why did you go work as a carpenter to figure out how to play this on the screen? Why don't you just fucking act? I'm like, whoa, dude, whoa.
That's kind of a dickish way to be, man, by the way. But I mean, think about this: how badass do you actually have to be like, watch a video of a carpenter, and now you can act exactly like one down to the minutia.
Yeah. And that goes to, people playing roles of like presidents or real life personalities and stuff. That's crazy. I never heard that, and it still blows my mind in this day. Another movie I saw, this is a pretty good one, the Halloween 2018 movie. Fun fact of my life, I think I've seen one Halloween once in my life. I've seen 2 or 3 of the Friday the 13th and the Nightmare on Elm Streets, and maybe 1 or 2 of the Friday the 13th. I'm not the guru when it comes to all that old school horror, but this was not a remake. It was a long sequel to the Michael Myers franchise, and done very well. Very good cinematography, very good setup. Brings I forget her name. Who was the actress? Damn, she played in True Lies. Shit. I don't feel like looking it up right now. Well,
oh god, I can't remember. Can see your face too, and I can't remember it.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
No,
I have to. I can't shun her like that. That's so bad. Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm so sorry, Jamie Lee Curtis. Well, they bring her back, and apparently some of the old cast that's like this. They make it a point to tell you that, look, some shit went down decades ago, And on this night, it's happening again, and it's very good, very well done. Not a lot of jump scares and shit, but it's also not super scary. It's just another person that is a fucking source of evil, and he goes around killing shit. And I just thought it was really good. It was a very good retelling of, or a very good sequel, put it that way, a updated sequel.
Was it a sequel or was it like a remake?
No, it's not a remake. It's a sequel. They reference all the old shit. Like Jamie Lee Curtis's character is in her grandmother age, and she's like, "Yeah, this shit happened to me 40 years ago," and yada yada yada. So, I do recommend it. I mean, it's up there in my book with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. I mean, it's got that new face to everything, that new look. I almost want to say like up-res, we'll put it that way. But a lot of good acting, a lot of good cinematography. You're going to hear me say that a lot tonight, the movies that I do prefer.
I imagine this Jamie Lee Curtis, she's like 40 years old, and she still has like the memories of Busta Rhymes being killed by Michael Myers.
No.
Yeah, it's like, oh God.
Hellfest is another movie I started to watch. Made it about 15, 20 minutes in and said, no, this is stupid. Kind of try hard. I get the premise of the movie. I mean, people go to a haunted house that's set up like a haunted house, but there's actually a murder there, and the premise sounded pretty good, so I figured I'd check it out. But the acting in it and just the campiness of it, I went, no thanks. So I moved on with life. Outlaw King, another movie I tried to get into. This was set back in King Edward's time, dealing with the Scottish and all that stuff. And it's got Chris Pine, and I'll watch any fucking thing in the world with Chris Pine in it, but I just didn't really get into didn't get into the story so much. Let's see, Revenge. It's going to sound so sadistic, I know, but I am a big fan of movies where women get kidnapped and or abused, and they get fucking retribution. I love it. I've seen a few of them that are really good. This is up there with that. Story is guy lands in this remote area in some fucking desert area like Nevada. I don't fucking know where. He flies his personal helicopter in, and he's got this young fucking piece of ass with him. Apparently he does have a wife and kids back home, but he's doing the fucking typical thing and taking this girl out way away from his wife and kids and banging her. These two associates he worked with shows up, and they do some bad shit. And then the whole group does some bad shit to her, and then she gets left, and she's not dead. This apparently was alluded to in the trailer too, so that's not really spoiler, but the way that she gets back is pretty good. Seen a few movies like this, said this already, but big fan of this. Like it a lot. Searching is a Netflix film that I heard about last minute some time ago, and I tried to find me a good copy of it. And it's a kidnapping movie theme, right? So, the reason why this movie works so well is because the father is really tech savvy, and the movie itself is tech savvy, as in he uses like FaceTime, he uses like Yahoo email and Google email and Twitter and Tumblr and all this stuff to effective degrees, and it's legit. Like it's not like face note and stuff like that. It's the actual stuff. And he uses stuff like in real time as the movie plays out. It's almost like a found footage. It's pretty much a found footage, but it just snaps through all these different things simultaneously. So like it's got him showing FaceTime as he's talking to somebody, but he's also like alt tabbing and pulling up Twitter, and then alt tabbing and pulling up Facebook, and little stuff like that. Like he'll go to type something to somebody and then regret what he was going to type, so he just backspace and then retypes it the way he wants to. The premise of the story is guy it starts off almost like Up. Shows a pretty happy family with a wife and a husband, with the addition of a child. This will be the difference to Up. And apparently the mother passes away due to cancer or something. And fast forward sometime After that, the daughter is supposed to be going out and doing a study group or something. She calls her dad that night, but the dad's like knocked out asleep, doesn't get the call. Tries to call her back, can't get a hold of her. Tries calling around, can't get a hold of her. Basically finds out she's missing, starts to file a police report. Detectives get involved, and yada, yada, yada. And that's where I'll leave it off. Very good. Just the way the movie was made, the way the found footage aspect of it was very well done, very modern and very true. So a good movie. I do recommend that one. Let's see. I only got a couple left. I thought about watching Happy Time Murders, but I'll get to that one eventually. Time Trap. This is one that I watched. This is for people that like time traveling movies and time traveling plots. This has that, but not to the crazy, like your eyes are not going to be crossed by the end of the movie trying to put all the pieces together. This is not one you need to watch 40 freaking times to understand. But it's done very well in the premise that there is an area that somebody goes to. Imagine you go like spelunking in a cave and you go through this area, and the area itself, time is where you are, but everything outside of it, once you're inside that area, fast forwards to a crazy degree. Like as seconds go by, years are passing by. And the movie shows like different time frame. It shows different times and different eras and different types of people that are around. The people that are in the area think that they're, like, yeah, it's only been like 20 minutes, but no, it's been like 400 years. So that's about where I'll leave that.
That sounds really, really interesting.
Yes, it is.
What's the name of that again?
Time
so
Trap.
People can hear it. Time Trap.
Yeah, and that's about as far as I'll leave the plot of that, so I don't want to spoil anything. Again, just handled very well. I like the way that they.
You know what that kind of reminds me of? Was that movie Interstellar?
Yeah.
Where he lands on that planet and it takes like 60 years or whatever to get off of the. They were there for like an hour.
If that part of the movie had a whole plot around it, that's what this movie is. So yeah, those are. I do recommend Revenge. I do recommend Time Trap, and any other ones I said I recommend. It's some Halloween too. Again, I was just all right. This is gonna be a little popcorn horror movie. Oh boy, here we go. Mike Myers, right? It was actually done very well. Video games, which will be the end of my week. Pretty easy. Only been playing one. Slight lie, I did play a little bit more of Chasm. If I had to guess, I feel like I'm pretty much at the end of that game. I'm in the last dungeon / area, whatever. But so for those that heard our last episode, I mentioned repeatedly that Giant Bomb had been in the middle of finishing out their Game of the Year deliberations. I love this. I still recommend you go check it out if you haven't, if you're not familiar with it. The Giant Bomb crew gets together. I think there were 9 this year, and they spend about 5 to 6 hours per, I think, 5 episodes this time, and they deliberate 10 categories set up of what they deem as Game of the Year. Best story, best debut, best ongoing franchise, yada, yada, yada. Well, Day 5, it may have been Day 4, but I'm pretty sure it was Day 4 and 5, maybe. They talked ad nauseum about Red Dead Redemption 2. And I was really expecting their conversations to be mostly negative. And they were actually mostly positive with a healthy dose of negativity. One person in particular, Dan Reichert, was trumpeting Red Dead Redemption 2 since damn near the announcement of the game. He's been white hot about Red Dead Redemption 2 since it was announced, and every trailer that came out, every press event they got to go to, everything he got to see, he just ate it alive. He was super fucking hyped for Red Dead Redemption 2, and he, out of the 9, was the only person who nominated Red Dead Redemption 2 as the most disappointing game of 2018.
Damn.
That is some emotional shit right there, man, because I know how that feels. I think we all can relate to how that feels when you are just white fucking hot hype over something like, guys, this is going to be so great. I know this is going to be probably going to be my game of the year, maybe my game of the decade, who knows, it's going to be so great. And then to just have to shit all over that game because you just don't like it. And hearing his arguments, everybody got to speak their piece, and he wasn't shut down or everything. He spoke all at length about his disappointments for the game. And even if he didn't, I could feel that hurt from him. I wanted to love this game. I should have. I was waiting for this game, and it fucking failed me.
Yeah, it always stings worse when it's something like you're really hyped up for, and then it just falls out on you. And so that I don't know. It's 20 times. I wish the game would just be bad from the onset.
Right.
Then be hyped up and then be bad.
Right. You never want that. So for the majority of the other crew, and again, I recommend you guys go listen to this on your own, and guys and gals, you can listen to this on your own, get your own opinions from it. But the gist that I got from the deliberations was mostly positive, and a lot of healthy criticisms. I didn't really hear, except for Dan himself, I didn't hear a lot of, no, fuck this game. This game is utter garbage. I think Jeff Gerstmann may have shit on it a little bit too, but I didn't walk away from these, what probably added up to 2, maybe even 3 hours of deliberation and talking points, that Red Dead Redemption 2 was a horrible game. And I said, I've heard from the Game Awards getting the rewards, from people in Easy Allies talking about this, Giant Bomb, to, all right, let me go see for my damn self, see what this game's all about. At a minimum, I enjoyed my time through Red Dead Redemption 1. I have played that game. I did 80 to 90% of the shit in that game, and I did enjoy it. Sadly, because it was so long ago and I only played through it one time, I really don't have a lot of memories for the game. I can't quote a lot of stuff from the game. I remember John Marston being very witty. That's what I loved about his character. There was a line in particular where I forget who he was talking to. He was talking to a lady, and she was like, I hope you don't mind me asking. He goes, oh, well, I hope you don't mind me not answering. I love shit like that. Like that was John, his smart aleck attitude. And the ending, of course, to that game. But the game as a whole just didn't stand out to me. So at a minimum, I felt like it. I'll walk away from Red Dead playing it one time, and I'll be done with it, and then I'll move on with life. So I'm now playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I have been for about 4 or 5 days now, and spoiler free, I don't hate it. This is what I've mentioned to Adam a few times already, is that I don't. That's where I'm sitting at right now. This game is not a negative to me at all, but it's also not blowing me over. So let me go into detail and explain. From what I've heard, the big takeaway that I got from both Easy Allies and Giant Bomb is that actually, to quote Brad Shoemaker, Red Dead Redemption 2 has the best Rockstar story ever written, bar none. Now that's saying a lot. I really enjoyed Grand Theft Auto 5's story. I love I love the story, and I love how they told the story. And they're saying, yeah, this is even better. I've heard this from a few different people. They're just touting the story of Red Dead Redemption 2. So
yeah, well, let's preface that though, because I mean, Rockstar has good stories, but a lot of them are just kind of retreads of popular tropes of the genre. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have the Vice City had kind of the Miami Vice / Goodfellas / Scarface kind of overtones, and I mean, you can't say, okay, they're plagiarizing it. No, they're not. They obviously aren't. They put their own spin on everything, but it's not like these are the most like iconic stories of all time. They're just decent, or actually I'd say they're good, if not great stories, but told in a way that is amazing with every new iteration.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, Are they the best stories out there? Probably not. But if this is the best Rockstar story ever, that is something to be kind of, kind of looking forward to.
Yeah.
As I'm wondering, like, if you're going through the game right now, just kind of keep an eye out and see if you can catch any hints of old westerns and stuff they might have drawn from to make this. That'd be very interesting to see.
Yeah, again, man, it's really hard for me to do that. It's if I've seen it before or haven't seen it before, it's all about it's all about the totality for me. I don't want to nitpick a story chapter by chapter determining what Clint Eastwood movie it came from. If the whole entire story is good, then it's good for me. But
I'm not saying it's not.
The reason why I even brought that up was because that was what led me into even going and buying this game. So in a way, yes, Brad Shoemaker, I'm putting this shit on you. If this story doesn't blow my fucking socks off, I'm coming after you up there in John Tom. Second thing, again, this is what I'm hearing from people that speak positively about the game, is that this game is filled to fucking bursting with little bitty details. The stories that we heard about, the 100-hour work days and all that shit that's, up or down, positive, negative, a little bit of embellishment and all that. The bottom line that I've heard from most people that point out these things is that there are many well fleshed out, thoroughly developed aspects of this game. And I'm into that. I've always loved that. I've been the biggest, the game that did that for me the most back in the day, that has me now hunting for that, was Metroid Prime. When I went through Magmore Caverns for the first time and Samus was walking down that hallway and the steam blew down from the ceiling and it fogged her lens up, that shit right there has me looking for details like that in every game that I play. And every time that I see stuff like that, the more details like that are in the game, the more I favor the game. Not saying it's going to make it the greatest thing in the world, but I go, I like that. That was a good touch. That was nice they put that in there. I can appreciate that. I see what they did there. So that was the second thing that I wanted to play this game for. Other than that, it's taking criticisms. It's taking in the criticisms and seeing how I feel about them. Because as much as I've heard about those two things, the negative that I heard from Chris and and even people in the Easy Allies that didn't care for the game, and even people in lots of people that criticize the negativity, is, holy shit, this game is tedious. It is tedious and slow and boring. And now that I've put about 5 days, I don't feel like going and swapping to a PS4 to look the hours up, but I know I'm into the third chapter right now with hitting every side quest possible, as well as doing twice that amount of time of just fuck off content. I can see where people don't like the tediousness, but I feel like it doesn't bother me, with a caveat. I feel like I'm kind of cheating this system. If you picked up Red Dead Redemption 2 with horse blinders on, you were internet dark from the time it was announced, you didn't want to hear anything, you had fingers in your ears, and you were lying all the way up to release, and you got this game, the pace of it, I completely understand. The way it is actually designed would piss you off. It would piss me off, because yes, it is slow as fuck to get everywhere. If you want to get from the northeast corner of the map to the southwest corner of the map, you're going by horseback, unless you want to pay money, unless you want to ride to a stage wagon or whatever it's called, and then pay money, which is not that easy to come across, especially in the early game. Stagecoach, that's what it is, to ride all the way down there. And even then, you got to, I get it. If you want to go kill things and then cook meat, you got to cook the meat one at a time. I get it. If you go rob some people and you realize that your box of stuff is getting full, you need a fence. You need to sell your stuff. You can't just sell it at a shop. You need to go to a fence. So you have to ride all the way to the fence. I totally get it, but I am cheating the system severely, because I have already heard this from people. And the main thing that I've heard from is, you've got to treat this like a cowboy fucking simulator. If you can do that and you're prepared for that style of gameplay, you'll be okay. So if you were to ask me right now, what would I rather play, a samurai style simulator to a degree or a cowboy simulator, I would be far more interested in playing the samurai. And I could loop that around a lot of genres. I think the cowboy western theme is cool. I just don't get super hype about it. I get about a 6 out of 10 hype for it, as opposed to going through an Edo era with, 13 assassins. I'm a 9.5 for that kind of shit. But since I have this mentality of understanding this is going to be a slow plodding game, much like a actual cowboy would be slow and plodding to get things done. There's not a lot of fast travel. I'm not flying around in spaceships. I can't click 2 buttons and get things done. I get it. But the tediousness fits the theming, and it's fine by me. So, having said all that, I don't hate the game, but the game hasn't locked me in yet. And I realize that's not always the biggest sell for a game. And I'm not trying to make the biggest sell, because if you thought that I was about to just have spasm out about Red Dead 2, I'm not going to do that, because nothing in this game has done that to me yet. What I have had in this game are several moments of, holy shit, that was cool, or, oh, I like that detail, or yada, yada, yada. For example, I was riding my horse somewhere and was trying to get through a river-style area, and I crested over a cliff. And when I got over the cliff, a fucking bear showed up, and I was like, whoa, shit. And then I got into a fight with a bear. The bear ripped my fucking face to pieces, tore this brand new fucking coat that I had just bought, put gouges all inside of it. I got to kill the bear. I got to skin it. But then I also had to figure out how to go sell the skin, so that was about 4 hours of just traveling all over the map trying to figure out where I could sell it at. But in that was also exploring, so I didn't like it, but I didn't mind it either. Let's see. There was a time where I rode upon this blind man on the side of the road that was like, "Hey, you spare some money," and I was like, "All right, let me rock star this game." So I got off the horse and I walked up to him. He's like, spare $1, and even the option was there to spare $1. And I said, okay, pretend this is Witcher. Pretend that half the people that are out here that's saying what they're doing are lying their ass off. Let me point my gun at this guy, and if he goes, "Whoa, man, I was just fucking with you," then I win. I pulled my gun out and shot him. I blew a fucking blind man away. I shot him right in his fucking face because I pressed the wrong button. I've done a lot of things like that where it's just been, I should have done this, which that leads into a negativity of not enough auto saves, makes you really want to manual save, and even then when you manual save, it doesn't always put you exactly where you are. There's a lot of shakiness to some mechanics here, but nothing that's been upsetting to me. There was one recently that did upset me, however. I was in a quick time event where I had to quick draw fight somebody, and I kept dying. When I got to this guy, I had already been through 2 or 3 separate quick draws, but I won those mostly out of luck and mostly out of just Twitch reactions. This guy apparently could quick draw really fast, so I died, and I said, okay, fuck this. I'm going to keep dying to this guy until I have this quick draw mechanic figured out, until I master it. We're talking in the neighborhood of around 50 deaths that it took me to get this, because you have to slightly hold the R stick in to fill a meter up. Then you got to hit the R stick again to aim. Then you got to hit the R stick again to shoot. And when I was fighting this particular guy, he was quick as shit. So you couldn't wait for the whole meter to fill up. And even if you waited for half the meter to fill up, you had about half a second to aim your reticle with a controller, not a mouse, and fire and do what you want to do. Wouldn't be a big deal if I was just killing him, because I was killing him quite often. I didn't want to kill him. My Arthur is mostly noble. I want to disarm people. Just a quick story. The reason why I was even talking to this guy, I was trying to get a story from him. I was doing a sub quest for somebody where they're like, hey, I want you to go around and find these old Western legends and have them tell a story and get a picture of them. Well, half of them don't like you, half of them don't know you, so they're just on the defense. So when this guy was like, fucking draw, have at you, I would fuck up, and either he would kill me or I just kept killing him, and if I killed him, I just reloaded the save. So once I finally had the quick draw mechanic down to have it where I knew what I was doing, I disarmed the fucking guy. His gun flies out of his hand, lands on the ground. He pulls another gun out and puts it to his head. And I'm like, oh god, oh shit. Okay, well let me do it again. And I started to then try. So now I went from I couldn't do quick draw to, okay, I'm fucking quick draw up where I'm killing him, to I'm good enough now where I can shoot, to I'm good enough now I can shoot the gun out of his hand. Now I'm trying to shoot 2 guns out of his hand, one after the other, and kept doing it and fucking it up and dying and fucking it up and dying and reloading the save. And I said, fuck this. Okay, let me go online and see what I'm doing wrong. You can't pacify the guy. You can't even lasso the guy, which what I did try that as well, and the rope just bounced off him. So, as I've said before, I don't mind. I actually kind of like some games that do that, where, you know, this is a death mechanic or a you can't beat this boss mechanic. But when I didn't know that this guy could not be handled non-aggressively, that I couldn't shoot the gun out of his hand and basically spare the guy, I wasted probably an hour and a half of my life for nothing. So that...
Yeah, I did.
It's odd that they didn't even put that option in there, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, the ones that you can pacify like that, they don't usually do. Not everything has a hint to it, so this is just the way that I was playing my Arthur. Typically, if somebody draws on me, I try to shoot the gun out of their hand. I could blow them away. I have Deadeye, so I can, you know, fucking blow 9 people away at one time. But I tried to do the pacifist. Didn't work with this guy. Let me think.
Yeah. I did the same thing on a lot of them. Tried, and eventually I got tired of reloading. So just whatever happened.
Yeah.
And I probably got through the game without fully understanding that mechanic. Just straight up.
Yeah. Really creepy thing happened. I've been slightly spoiled, especially, you know, listen to the Giant Bomb End of the Year deliberations. I mean, they spoiled the whole game, most of the story too, but I've kind of already forgotten most of it, so it's okay. But I've heard from them and other sources as well of apparently there are UFOs, big feet, fucking vampires in this game, all kind of shit. I haven't seen anything like that, but I did see one thing that was very unsettling to where I noped the fuck out of there. I was riding my horse to the more luxurious, larger town of the game, and to do that I had to pass through a swamp. And as I was passing through the swamp, I was trying to be me and do detours instead of using the roads. Well, unfortunately, when you do the detours, there are alligators all over the swamp. And if your horse doesn't like the alligators, which they don't, they will start bucking you off if you don't console them and try to comfort them or steer them away from the fucking alligators. So I started taking this shortcut, and I was like, hey, boy, easy, boy. And my horse was like, nah, man, there's like 20 alligators around here. Fuck that. The horse bucked me off, and I was like, oh man, now I'm gonna have to go. This is another tedious thing about the game. Like, you can go take a bath at a hotel, but if you want to clean yourself, you usually want to find a body of water and jump in, and you need to find one that's deep enough to cover all of you. And it's tedious. I get it. Whatever. So I'm already dreading this. You know, I've got this nice suit on, and my horse was already clean. I already brushed him off, and I was like, come on, man, get out of the mud, and had to chase him down because everywhere he was running, he was like running into another alligator, and he was like, and he'd run another way. And, it's just, get over here. Come on, man. So I'm chasing him down, finally get on my horse, and right in front of me in a tree is a guy hanging by his feet. And I couldn't tell, but it looked like he was moving. I don't know if it was the wind or if he was moving, but I saw movement. And me being my Arthur, I was like, all right, let's go over here and see what this is about. It could be a criminal that got caught, or it could be somebody strung up, and let me help you, fellow man. So I go up to the guy, get off my horse, I walk up to him, and I'm going to pull the trigger to the prompt to either talk to him or cut him down or whatever. And I look in my peripheral, and a fucking dude is coming at me. And he's it's really hard for me to describe what happened in the next like minute because I fucking ran. This guy had like minimal clothing on, scabby, like ragged clothing. His face was a mixture of like white paint and blood. He was speaking fucking parcel tongue like I was like, oh, what the fuck? And then I look and there's like 6 or 7 of them walking toward me and closing in on me with sticks, knives, guns, bows, who knows what the fuck. And I was like, nope. And I got on my horse and beat the fuck out of that place. Don't know what they are. Don't know what the story is. I'm sure I'll find out later, or I will go find out later. But I was like, fucking nope. Like, it's one of those things where the camera was right behind me, and I just happened to turn my camera a little bit and was like, oh, what the fuck? Oh, what the fuck? Oh, nope. And I was gone. Speaking of the camera, I did find one controller nuisance thing that I really don't care for, but again, it hasn't been a deal breaker for me. Excuse me. I've been trying to find an option in the game that completely lets me disengage the automatic camera follow. There is an option that's supposed to do that. I know it does because it says it's off. And it's the wording is like, you know, the camera that, you know, auto rotates back behind your character. I had this pet peeve with this game that I don't like how low the camera sits behind Arthur. It's almost like it's pointed at the back of his neck. I want it to more point like toward the ground. So when I'm running, the camera will like go back behind him automatically, which is fine, but it also like lowers, so it raises my perspective, and I just don't care for it. And I've turned that option completely off, and that does not turn it off. It just takes like 10 seconds now, but the camera will slowly rotate back. So whatever, I turned the option back on because it makes it easier to ride around, and I've just dealt with it. That's about the only, that and the auto saving and manual saving are the only small control style mechanics of the game that I don't really prefer. There are tons of little things I feel like I'm forgetting them all right now because I run into probably 1 or 2 an hour where it's, oh, that's a nice detail, and that this game is definitely littered with that. The story is getting better. I do like the interactions with a lot of the characters. Something that the Giant Bomb cast pointed out is that, you know, yes, it may take you 10 minutes to go from point A to point B in the story, but a lot of your story is going to be told to you in those rides. Like, I learned all about why Arthur Morgan has such a beef with John Marston because of those rides. And almost every time that I've had to ride somewhere with someone, I've gotten some kind of story. And that's cool. The rides by myself, not so much. It's mainly me patting my horse and telling him how much I love him. So, I don't have any kind of rating for this game right now, folks. My rating is the obvious that I'm still playing it. I do look forward to playing it when I get home. But unless this thing really ratchets the fuck up with the story, and unless I have, you know, 2 or 3 really awesome, damn good side or main missions, I feel like this game for me is going to roll in the same territory that the first Red Dead Redemption did, which is I played it, had a good time with it. It was a one-time play. I moved on with life. It's about
just mediocre.
Yeah, but again, I don't want that to be a detraction from the quality of the game. The graphics, I put that bitch in cinematic mode all the time. The facial animations, the character animations, the life of the game itself is real. I mean, I murdered somebody. Oh man, this is stuff I should have already talked about, but I have actually killed my horse way too many times because of jumping where I should not be jumping, or, oh, I don't know, Chris, running it into another fucking person, and then, oh shit, my horse is dead. Oh, that guy and his horse are dead. Well, fuck.
Okay.
Well, that
I was imagining you just hitting some random dude, and the dude just like bowing out his chest, like, get the fuck off me, horse.
The first time that my horse died, Chris, I was up in the mountains. I had been playing for like an hour without saving, and I had gone from one corner of the map to the other. I was gonna go do a side quest mission up in the mountains. I was already fighting past the cold, so I'd already eaten a bunch of stuff that I shouldn't have had to eat because I didn't wear the right gear. I'm riding through the mountainside. I turn a corner, and here's a guy just fucking trotting along, and I slam into him. He falls off. I fall off. My horse is dead. And this guy gets up, what the fuck? And shoots me with 2 bullets and kills me. My horse is dead. So shit like that does happen. But there was one time where a guy, so I was riding somewhere in the middle of some country, wide open country, and a guy was like, hey, mister, you need to stop and help me. I slowed down, but I didn't stop. He runs up and to get on the back of my horse. I speed up a little bit, pull a Yui, and I accidentally run the guy over. I didn't mean to. I didn't want to, but I ran him over and killed him. I said, oh shit. I'm on a road, mind you. I'm not in the woods. I was on a main road. I got off the horse. I picked this fucking guy up. I ran 30, 40 yards into the woods, hid him behind a tree and a rock or something, and then left. And I didn't remember, but I knew where it was when it popped up later. About 3 hours later, wanted, murder, investigation happening at this area, in this city proper or whatever. And I was like, I haven't done anything. What the fuck? And then I pulled the map up and looked, and I was like, oh, that's the area where I killed this. They don't fucking play. So somebody, apparently an NPC, was walking in that area, probably a hunter, found that body, ran back to town, told the cops. The cops went out there and went, yep, that's a dead fucking body. Investigate it. We think it might be this guy based on whatever. And they will hunt you down, or they will put a bounty up and you're going to be wanted in areas. So there is a lot of life. There is a giant, detailed, quality, yes, they put fucking time and money into this game, mechanic to this game. And I see it, and I totally acknowledge it, and salute it, and respect it. But the game itself as a whole is just I'm playing through it right now. So we'll see.
I feel like if they're gonna be that detailed with, like, you know, the bounty hunting and mechanics and stuff like that, like the law enforcement aspect of it, like, you should have had an option to be like, I'm gonna take this guy to a doctor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Last
Sorry,
story.
bro.
Last story before, and I'll swap the week over. So I was riding through. This is how 50,000 stories in Red Dead 2 are. So I was riding through this random area. I was riding through this area, and a guy was like, "Mister, help me! Oh God!" Like he was. They do some really good acting in this game. I'll tell you that. Even the side NPC people do. But I was like, "Well, shit." And I fucking stopped the horse, and this guy's like on the ground. He's like, I'm fucking bleeding out, man. I am not gonna make it. Can you help me? I gave him some medicine. He's like, no, I need a doctor like right now, please. God, please help me. I was like, all right, well, I'm pretty close to a town. I threw him on the back of my horse. I ran into the town, brought in the doctor.
I think I know this one.
Yep. So I brought in the doctor, and the doctor's like, hey, man, fuck yeah, bring him on back into this room real quick. Hurry up. I brought him to the back room, and he was like, oh, man, yeah, you got bit by a nasty wolf or some shit like that. Your arm is fucked. And you could zoom in first person and see this dude's arm detailed. It's fucked up. And the guy's like, wow, it's like he was coming out of shock. He's like, where am I? What's going on? He's like, no, man, I brought you to the doctor. You're okay now. And he's like, yeah, well, you're okay, but this arm's pretty bad. You got gangrene setting in, man. We're going to have to probably amputate or something. He's like, what? And he's like, well, thanks, Arthur. Thanks for helping me out. Here's, and he gave me like $3 or something. And
he paid you an arm.
The doctor was like, all right, well, thanks for bringing him. You might want to leave because you don't want to see what's about to happen. Mm-hmm. I didn't leave. So the doctor goes to a fucking table, grabs a needle, shoots the guy in the neck, and the guy's like, hey, man, would you... and he's like, all right, well, that takes care of that part. Ties the fucker's arm up, gets a saw out and charts fucking sawing that dude's arm off. And it's not a fucking PlayStation 2 era. You see the arm severed away. No, this guy is he's fucking working. He's like getting to the hard
was so
bone.
brutal.
It's so gruesome and bloody and visceral, and the sound effects and him grunting of the effort of going, I can't get through the, and oh yeah,
the blood all over him afterwards,
fucking everywhere.
Wow.
And I was like, damn. I did a little mini side quest to help this guy out and got to watch him get his arm amputated. Cool. That is carried all throughout this game. That is something that I do acknowledge that people have pointed out. I do see it even these early stages of the game. You're going to have so much detail, so many little things where you can follow people and they're having their own life and you can intervene in that life. And hopefully I'll have more stories to tell like that as I progress through the game. But again, it's I'm enjoying it enough now to where I'm continuing and playing it, but I haven't hit guys, fucking world stop. This is Game of the Year material right here. Maybe for graphics and amount of detail of shit put in a game, yes, but God of War beating out? Oh no. Oh no. I'm sorry, Arthur Morgan, but you ain't that good.
I'm glad you actually brought up Red Dead, because I didn't write it down, but I wanted to talk about it today. I heard someone, and I can't remember what the source was anymore. It was probably some Twitch stream I was watching. Actually, it might have been Dropped Frames on their Game of the Year discussion. Apparently, there are different endings to the game.
Oh.
There's a good ending and a bad ending, and apparently the bad ending, based on what I haven't researched it since I heard it, because I don't want to spoil anything by looking it up.
Yeah.
But apparently, if you play a noble Arthur Morgan like I did, like you are, you get the bad ending.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, well, now I don't want to play through the game again, but I guess. Well, and
there's a narrative reason why it happens too, Adam. If you think about it, Arthur Morgan and Dutch and his merry band of thieves, they are outlaws. It's something they hit home a lot when they in their dialogue is, look, man, we're a dying breed. Nobody wants us anymore. We're not like, we've already had our time. The samurais are over. That's what they're saying. Everybody hates
coming to the end of an era.
Yeah, everybody hates us. They want the outlaws gone. We're not cool anymore. We're the nuisance. So Dutch has a band of outlaws. So if you're going out and being like, no, I'm not, when you see a wagon driving by with a criminal in the back, instead of, if you decide not to help them, you're not really being a good outlaw. You want to help your fellow outlaw. You want to help your fellow brother. If it comes time for you to mow an entire town of people down or just go steal the one thing and leave, it works to the narrative correctly. But oh man, it's rough to hear, because I don't want to do that.
Like, I don't remember this guy being such a dick. You know? I don't remember John Marston being. I don't think he'd associate with somebody that was just fucking evil. If you played the good John Marston. Yeah. So I mean, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, I guess. But
yeah, you got to take it more outside of John, because there's a whole group of people, and I agree. Even the group of people. Even Dutch himself is always talking positively. Yeah, he wants to go rob a bank right away. Yeah, he wants to go rob a train right away. But it doesn't seem like the kind of just want to shank somebody and then laugh about it. He doesn't seem like the maniacal antagonist. He just seems
don't have a lawful alignment, but that doesn't mean they're evil.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not like, oh man, I see this guy getting beat up on the side of the road. Let me join in.
Yeah.
And
so the fact that it has multiple endings, it depends on what I feel like with this game. It depends on what I feel like at the end of the day. If I ever go back through this one again, I never went back through Red Dead 2, even though there was still a little bit of content I needed to finish. But that is interesting to note that they took the time to do that, because the character development in this game is good. All the characters that you come across, with the exception of the random fucking side characters on the street, they've got good development. They carry conversations on their own amongst themselves around the camp, around the town. So yeah, there's a lot of that to see, and to see their reactions to you just being like, nah, fuck everybody, which you're gonna do at some point in that game. But to be that character all the time, it just doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't feel like the game drives me that way. That's me saying that, though. I haven't tried to do that. So maybe if I try to be a fucking renegade serial killer outlaw, maybe the game will treat me differently. I don't know. I'm slowly working my way up the nobility rank so far, and everybody pretty much treats me all right.
Yeah, it took so long to cap that out.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, since both of y'all have played this. How good is this game in short bursts? Is this a game where you're going to be like, oh, let me turn it on, I need to be playing this for the next 2 hours? Or is this something where you pick it up and 30 minutes here, hour and a half there?
You need longer periods of time to actually accomplish anything.
Yeah, you really do. Like, the chunks of time a typical spoiler for me, a typical behind the curtains afternoon for me, I'll get home around 4:15, something like that. And from the time that I get home to the time that I go to sleep, minus time to shower, minus maybe 10-15 minutes to eat, bathroom breaks, and spend a little bit of time with my wife, I spend all those hours playing a game. If I'm just playing Red Dead 2, I may have got one, maybe, and this is a strong maybe, leaning towards did not, but a strong maybe, got 2 story or side story missions out of the way. The rest of that time was traveling and trying my best to get fucking money somehow. Just pick it. Like, me and you talked about this before, Adam. Picking up Persona 5, I can go Mementos for 20-30 minutes and enjoy myself, get some XP, and shut the game off. If I do that in Red Dead, I get halfway across the map. No, you know what? That's exaggerating. It doesn't take fucking half an hour to get across the entirety of the map, but in the process
takes longer.
In the process of doing that, the things that you may get caught up in, while you did do things, you think of The Witcher. Remember how The Witcher was? Like, you would be going somewhere and you could get sidetracked 7 different times? You could potentially do that here. You would, oh shit, there's a big ass fucking black bear. I've been needing that fur.
That's the worst kind of black bear.
So let me shoot it. Let me shoot this fucking thing and skin it. Okay, well, let me pull the map up. Oh shit, I'm all the way up in the north of the map. Well, the fucking taxidermist, what was it called? Not the Skinner. Why the fuck?
Tanner?
The Tanner. The Tanner's all the way down the southeast of the map. All right, well, let me fucking load the skins up on my horse and gallop all the way down there. It's a 15-minute ride, 15 in real life minute ride to where I need to go. Up. But on the way there, some fucking jackass in a wagon ran me over, and my horse got killed. I didn't have a horse thing on me to revive it, so let me walk my ass to town and get into a stable and buy a horse. Yeah, that shit can happen. Playing this game in short bursts, I feel, would be challenging, extremely challenging. Because again, that's what this game is designed. It's designed around that, and just. Yeah, I like I said before, I feel like I'm cheating because I've had everybody come to me with caution signs and going, "Woo, woo, this is not God of War. You slow way down and play this like it's themed as, which is a cowboy simulator." And that's what I'm doing and enjoying enough to continue playing it. Chris, how's your week been, man?
So before we move on to my week, I have a question for you.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of when we recorded versus when you posted it, but you posted on Facebook a movie rating, which you did not talk about today.
Oh God, thank you, Chris.
Oh, snap.
Can I take about 5-10 minutes here, folks? Because holy shit, I can't believe I totally forgot this. Okay, so
I've been waiting all week to hear it.
Yeah. So let's do a little preface here. because I know Adam and I have talked about these movies. I know me and Chris, we've all discussed to some degree the DC universe. At the end of the day, my big overhead, it's not fucking horrible. It's just horribly executed and it doesn't draw me. I look forward to every Marvel movie that comes out now. I don't give a fuck who is going to be the star in it. I don't care what weird, obscure, random, out of their ass pull character that Marvel Cinematic Universe pulls out. If there is a MCU movie, I want to go watch it. DC slowly started to burn those bridges. Suicide Squad, it was fucking horror. It was horrible. Batman vs. Superman fucked up on way too many levels. The Justice League was meh, okay. So the biggest pull for me so far has been Wonder Woman. My wife and I both went and saw Wonder Woman together, and of course it's got Chris Pine in it, so I'm all about it. But the movie itself was very good. I enjoyed Wonder Woman. Wasn't a 10 out of 10, but it definitely had a lot of good moments in it that made me go, okay, all right, this is good. This is what you guys should be doing. More of this. Maybe pick up the pace a little bit, but Wonder Woman was pretty good. Saw Aquaman coming. Have heard about Aquaman since its inception. Yada yada yada. And yeah, I'll play the asshole here. Okay, I have been the nah. Jason Momoa's fucking bro. Yeah, everything's cool, and I'm gonna tell you it's cool. I fucking hate that in movies. Attitude, I didn't like. I didn't care for it. I thought it was way too try hard. Like, I'm gonna have this fucking long wet hair, and I'm Jason Momoa, and the women are gonna love me, and the guys are gonna think I'm cool. And I was like, man, it had a couple humorous moments in the Justice League, but it just really fell flat for me. So when the Aquaman movie was announced, I was, yeah, I'm not seeing that shit. The first trailer that I saw of Aquaman, however, made me go, okay, they're going out there. I see actual people underwater riding fucking seahorse, knighted up, looking armored fucking things, and crabs and fucking fish looking people and sharks with saddles. And is that Black Manta? Okay, and he looks pretty legit. All right, I will give Aquaman's trailer props that they're actually embracing the legitimacy of the comics. That okay, they're not afraid to put actual comic book looking things in there. Okay, but even that waned off over time. Nah, I'm not really feeling Aquaman. It's probably gonna bomb. This DC has so much work to do. I don't know what they're gonna do to fix it. Yada yada yada. Fast forward, Aquaman gets released. People around me are buzzing around my ear. Hey, Aquaman was really fucking good. Yeah, okay. I'm sure. I've heard a lot of bro people tell me it's good, and I'm like, yeah, you like Justice League, didn't you? Oh, it was fucking great. Yeah, well, no, thank you. I will not be going to see Aquaman. But I heard from way too many people, man, this movie was fucking phenomenal. This movie was great. This movie is entertaining. It's not what you're expecting. The last time I talked to somebody was, did you like Wonder Woman? Yeah, I liked it a lot. I think it was one of the best Marvel DC movies so far. Then you are going to fucking love Aquaman. All right. Fuck it. Let me go buy 2 tickets. Me and my wife will go see it. That movie was fucking 5 out of 5, guys. That movie for me, yeah, you're right, Chris. I put it on my Facebook. For those that don't know, another behind the scenes personal life thing, I grade all my movies and games too based on the old Game Pro rating scale. I even added one more for a 5.5. God of War would get that as an example. Like just things that are just Persona 5, 5.5. It's just phenomenal. But yeah, I put that movie up as a 5. That was that. That got the fucking crazy guy with the crazy hair, red face rating. Oh yeah, that movie was very fucking good. Some great things about this movie. Number 1, all the action scenes that were handled very well. That director, I forget his name. If one of you two please look up his name for me. But in the previous movies that he's done, he is very well known for doing wide one-take shots, and there are so many action scenes in this movie that are done that way. I think one of the first action scenes in the movie is done that way.
Is it James Wan?
James Wan, bingo. Yes, he is known for having really good action shots. What other movies has that? If anybody wants to click that real quick, just to throw some other movies this guy has done.
Saw, Fast and Furious 7, or Furious 7, Conjuring 2, The Conjuring.
Yeah, he's okay. So he's kind of hit or miss. When it comes to his debuts, but that is something that he is known for, and it plays in here very well. That's number one. Number two, they give Aquaman his origin story, a legit origin story, and they flesh it out throughout the movie. It's not, hey, here's 15 seconds or 2 minutes. This is the Aquaman story. It's all fleshed out and done very well throughout the movie. That's two. Number three, all the cinematography in this game is great. All of it. In this movie is great. All of it. Even the CG effects, while yes, the discerning eye can check out can see the when the CG is playing in it. Yeah, whatever. It's not bad at all. It's done very, very well. Even the underwater stuff. 4, the character development for all these characters done very well. 5, whenever it comes time for them to show characters. Bear with me, guys. It's really hard for me to explain this, but I'm going to try my best to right now. You know how when you see a character in a comic book or a game and they have a standard costume and the costume looks okay. I mean, it's not crazy futuristic. It just fits their character. And then they put them into a movie and they have to super over flourish the costume. You know, they got to add more angles and more little divots and more little side pieces and extra flourish gauntlets and all this shit. You don't get that in this movie with these characters. Like, Black Manta has a little bit of extra garnishments on his outfit, but he looks like Black Manta from the fucking comics. Aquaman, when he gets his costume, looks like fucking Aquaman. The Ocean Master, when he puts his mask on and he puts his costume on, it's not super fucking over designed. If you're having trouble understand what I'm talking about, for anybody that grew up watching the Ninja Turtles cartoon, remember how Shredder looked? He had a purple outfit and had some spikes on his gauntlets? Okay, remember the fucking Turtles movie from 2014? And they immediately threw in Super Shredder and he had like 20,000 fucking knives on his body, and then he shot out 20,000 more gigantic blades out of his arms? That's what I'm talking about. Super over the top costume designs. That's not what's here. What they did was just they took the designs from the comic books that you know, from the comic book characters and antagonists that you know, and just brought them to the screen with respect. You know, to the average layman, these costumes are going to look, wow, that looks goofy. To the comic book fans, wow, that's pretty accurate. That's does a lot of justice to what they look like. What else? It's 2.5 hours long, and I was like, oh god, if this movie's horrible, that's another 2.5 hours I gotta sit through. I'm so fucking glad it was 2.5 hours. The movie felt paced just right for me. It's got comedy, romance, action. It's got everything. Bottom line, this was a 5 out of 5 DC movie for me. I enjoyed it. I told my wife a couple times in this movie, I am enjoying the hell out of this movie. I'm having a really good time. I am entertained by this movie. And that's enough, man, because a lot of these DC movies have not even done that. This is kind of stupid. This is more like, oh man, that was cool, or wow, that was really good, or oh yeah. So I enjoy it. I recommend anybody go see it. It is a standalone. And if you do, this is especially for you two as well, they do mention Steppenwolf in that movie. I just forget where, and I forget exactly how the reference was made. So it's hard for me to tell if this movie takes place before or after Wonder Woman. I don't know. But
this is just it's like what I was telling you before, and off the podcast, but to me this movie is bittersweet, even if it's great. Yeah, it's just 5 out of 5 just makes the pain a little bit more that they didn't properly do their cinematic universe.
Yeah, and I can understand that. I mean? I can understand.
It's like, oh man, the awesomeness that would have come from, dragging out, just postponing that Justice League movie and doing all these other build-up movies beforehand.
Yeah.
Ah,
yeah. We have
what could have been.
We have a close.
We're in the wrong timeline.
We have a close friend that's got a pretty good handle on. He believes that these movies are going to come out and they're basically going to work backwards. That the movies that are coming out now and that are going to continue to come out are going to tie back into like Batman versus Superman and Justice League and make those movies make sense. And I'm like, It's not going to be.
That doesn't fix it.
Will it happen? I can see it happening, but that will not fix it. In saying that, did this movie like revitalize DC for me? It made me I will check out the next movie potentially. But did it make me go, all right, DC's in, fucking watch out, Marvel Cinematic Universe? No, fucking no, not at all. If you're talking
does it fix Justice League for you?
No, it did not. If you're talking about the respective universes, the cinematic universes, no, they are climbing up a very steep hill, which they should never have done to begin with. But that's not what I'm arguing. Aquaman by itself is a damn good fucking movie, and that's all it is to me. It's not making me hype for the new Batman movie or any of these other Cyborg movie or Justice League 2 or any of that shit. All I'm taking Aquaman is as I gave it a shot and was thoroughly fucking entertained, and it was worth a watch. So
that's good shit.
Thank you, Chris, for reminding me. I can't believe I'm getting worse as these episodes go on, where it's like, hey, the main thing you need to talk about. Let's go. But
the dementia's setting in.
It is my old age. I will be 37 this year, so maybe that's when it finally hits. Who knows? And this month, actually, not just this year. Chris, tell me about your week. Man. What you been up to?
So, for the first time in a while, I actually watched something, quote unquote, on TV.
Oh?
So I was watching something on Twitch, and someone in chat mentioned that Ashley Johnson from Critical Role, and she's also an actress and stuff, but that's the only place I knew her from, really, mentioned that she did a voice in The Last of Us. I was like, who? She was the voice of Ellie. I was like, oh, really? I didn't even make the connection because I'm not one of those people that go, oh, who played this character? I never pay attention to that stuff. But that spurred me, and I went and looked at her IMDb to see what else she'd been in. And she's often not on Critical Role because she's been off recording for a TV series called Blind Spot. And I was curious, and when I was on IMDb looking at it, it actually had a link, it's available on Prime to watch, which I thought it meant, free to watch. That's not the case. You could buy it to watch it. But I was like, you know what? First season in HD is only $10. It's like 20 something episodes. Why not? So the premise of this series is it's as a overarching genre type thing. It's basically, a cop, detective, FBI, whatever organization you want to use, story where they're investigating stuff, solving crimes, etc. It's one of those shows. But the premise of this one is somewhat unique from all the ones I've seen in that it focuses on this woman at the very beginning is found, and all across her body are tattoos. And these tattoos connect to something. The very first one, the premise, kind of the opening shot, is them finding her, and the biggest tattoo on her back is this FBI guy's name, this agent's name. So he gets dragged in, and, it focuses around him and the tattooed woman. They're kind of the main characters. Ashley Johnson's role is she's the tech woman in it. And she has, it's not like some side role either. I mean, all these characters are big main characters. And they start investigating tattoos, and it leads in this whole story thing that you don't have any idea about what's going on. And then there are so many twists and turns. And I finished the entire first season. It's either 23 episodes in 2 days.
Wow.
And these are, 40, without commercial, 45-minute long episodes.
Did you
I could not stop watching.
Did you speed up the time at all? Or that was straight watch?
No.
Straight
That was straight watching.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what's the name of this series called again?
Blind Spot.
Lions.
Yeah. So, and Ashley Johnson, she's phenomenal. There's even a Critical Role reference in it, which was great to see.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
They make some comment. I'm not even going to spoil it in case you guys want to watch it. But yeah, it's great.
This premise reminds me of, I don't know have either of you two ever seen the Christopher Nolan movie Memento?
No.
Oh, man.
I have seen bits and pieces.
This is another one. This is a movie. The story sounds close to that, but this is one of those must watch, and I do recommend you watch 2 or 3 times. You're gonna want to for many reasons, but the story follows a guy that has no short-term memory. An incident happens in his life, and it fucks his mind up, and he has no short-term memory. So he goes throughout life with he lives via photographs and notepads and writing shit down. He can be talking to you, and 2 minutes in that conversation, not even know where the fuck he's at. It's like, wait, what were we talking about? Whoa, how did I get here? Who are you? And he tattoos very super important details about things in his life on his body. He's investigating something in his life, a very important event, and when he finds out a detail that he knows for a fact is fact, and he knows he must remember it, he'll tattoo it on his body. So that's a very short premise, because the way the movie is shot and directed is the draw of the movie. But yeah, very, very good story. And this sounds right up my alley, if that's anything like that.
The woman in this, when they find her, she has no memory. She does not know who she is. She doesn't have a short-term issue like you're just describing. Mm-hmm. And she can remember various things, like, to be a functioning human. But like, she knows these other languages. She didn't know she knows them, but very quickly she realizes, oh, I know other languages too.
Wow.
Because she can read this language on this paper that they're like, what is this? And she reads it off, and she's like, oh, apparently I know X. And the FBI, of course, have no idea who she is in the beginning. Wow. And there's a whole premise around that. That's a whole subplot to it, is, who is she while they're deciphering these tattoos, while these other things are going on. And then later on, they just kind of, the plot of it is such a twist and turn thing that there are episodes where they're like, yeah, we're not even going to address the tattoo this episode, that's not even get brought up, other than, maybe as a mentioning, because there are so many other things happening. It is very good. The action scenes in it are pretty good. They're not mind-blowing or anything. I mean, it's a realistic show, so it's, when you see the combat sequences, the hand-to-hand martial arts type stuff, the weapon to weapon combat, it's decent. I don't think there have been any spots where I was like, where I cringed at or anything, how bad it was.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like, that was really slow, obviously, because they're not trying to actually kill each other.
And it doesn't sound like combat is the draw of the show anyway. It sounds like the story and unraveling the mystery is.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what it is. Because like the first night I was watching, I was like, okay, it's getting late. I'm gonna stop, go to bed after this episode. Episode ended, and I was like, I can't leave on that cliffhanger. And I was like, it's not midnight yet. If I watch one more episode, it'll be like 2 minutes to midnight. That'll be my hard cutoff, no matter what kind of cliffhanger. This is the last episode I'm watching tonight. I watch it. It auto plays the next one. I hit pause on it. I go, man, this is terrible. I got up and walked away, to be the responsible adult I am, but I did not want to get up, because it was a even worse cliffhanger than the episode I would have left off before.
Wow. Oh, man.
That's an excellent idea for a series. You just keep giving them worse and worse cliffhangers with every episode all the way to the end.
Yeah, and season 1 ends, and I haven't bought season 2 yet because it's $20, and I'm like, Or I want to say it was $20 for standard depth, maybe 30 for HD or something. But I was like, that's for one season. I'm not too wild about that. And they're working on the 4th season right now, I think. So there's quite a lot more for me to watch if I choose to, but that just ate up like 2 days of my life. I accomplished almost nothing. I don't think I played anything other than Magic, and I was having a hard time paying attention to that.
But see, that's good, though. You
Yeah.
know, if you get, it's not that you were drawn in because you're like, fuck, well, I'm fucking invested. I have to know just to satisfy. It's more like, I want to know what happens next. Oh, man, that's really good, you know?
Yeah. I would recommend it.
I will add it. I will. Now, you said you made it through the entire first season. Is this entire show finished? Are they just on season 2 and there's more seasons coming?
They're on season 4 right now, I believe.
Okay. Is it still ongoing, or do you know?
Yes, still ongoing.
Okay. But I'm assuming that most of thankfully a lot of series are doing this way anyway these days, where season 1 wraps up itself, though. I'm assuming. It leaves cliffhanger. Okay, it's fine if it leaves cliffhangers.
Really.
Are going to go into progressive series, but is there any closure to the first season?
Yes, you do. They do wrap up some subplot threads.
Yeah.
But by doing so, they open up even bigger questions and stuff that they address later on, I'm sure.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's what a finale.
Like an example of what I was just mentioning was Haunting of Hill House. I mentioned that a few episodes back, of how very good Netflix series, very good horror, but less horror and more psychological effects on people. Anyway, I believe there is only one season of that out, and that entire first season wraps up with a bow. However, that house is still there, so it's the next season will just be another fucking set of people in that house. So that I'm cool with, and they could hint that, you know, another house, another family moving in, or something like that. So yeah, it's fine if I know there's more coming and the totality isn't finished, as long as I do get some wrapping up / closure in a season.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. You get some closure, but you're not really getting the full answers.
Thanos grabs the first gems. Grabs the first stones. Yes, 5 more to go. Season ending.
Damn.
Yeah. So,
speaking of which, we only got to May 15th. Yes. April 15th.
Boy.
Sorry. They
even sooner.
Yep.
Wow.
I think Captain Marvel is March like 26th or something, and then April 15th is
Tax day.
In game.
Okay. But yeah, so Blind Spot recommended. Ashley Johnson, phenomenal actress. Singer on a critical role. I love all the people on that show. But when I actually see them in a role, you know, that's even better. But then she has a subplot during the season that focus almost entirely on her, and she does phenomenal. Yeah, highly recommend it.
I hear Mercer in every other thing that I see or play these days. I'm like,
yeah. Mercer's a no-brainer.
Yeah, he is fucking. Well, yeah. So is Liam O'Brien. A lot of those are everywhere. And now that I have heard their voice for several hours on end, now I can point them out. I can pick them out.
Mercer's a little more difficult because you never know which voice he is.
Yeah.
He has a very large range.
Yeah.
So getting into gaming, I have a couple of stories before I get into the actual games. So 2 things happened on Christmas. The first one was the kids got a Switch, so I have to share mine, etc. As part of that, I needed to set up, you know, the profiles and all this stuff, and which isn't a huge deal, you know. I just create the profiles, and I was migrating them. Like, wait a minute, and then I find out that you don't have to migrate it if you have Nintendo Online. Your saves will go up to the cloud and will be available on both consoles. I'm like, okay, that's cool, because around the Christmas time, or actually around Thanksgiving, rather, they were playing my Switch while we were out of town. So they had save files. I want to make sure those transferred over so they would keep their Pokemon progress, etc. And I also was trying to figure out how to, you know, keep their, like, Smash Brothers stuff separate from mine, etc. So they didn't, you know, play on my file. So went through the whole thing. I got Nintendo Online for myself. And when you buy it, you actually they ask you, do you want to buy for yourself or do you want to buy a family version? I'm like, well, yeah, family version, go for it, you know. That's exactly what I need. So I look at it and I'm like, okay, so for them to benefit from the Nintendo Online, they have to be on my account as, family members. So I had to go through that whole process. And Nintendo does not make it easy because they have a Nintendo Network ID, which is separate from your Nintendo account.
Yep.
Go figure. So I had to make sure all those were linked right. I had to update one kid's to be his own email instead of my girlfriend's, because we created it for him using her email originally, but now she has an account. So this was like an hour and a half process for me to get all these accounts straightened out. And then I finally get all straightened out. I say, okay, kids, you can go play the Switch now. They're like, yay! And they go and boot it up. And my daughter hits the button on Smash Brothers, and it says, you cannot play this game. I'm like, okay. My profile's on that machine. Won't let them play it. They're my family. So I do a quick Googling, and it's like, digital games are only playable online, which... The Switch is online, so I don't know exactly how it works, but if for you to play offline, which means not with your profile in this case, even though the Switch itself is online, I'm answering my own questions as I talk, even though the Switch is online itself, if the profile is not the one you're playing with, it's considered offline because you're not active with it. So I was like, okay. And I didn't even realize the Switch had primary consoles because I've only had one for so long. So I had to go in, figure out how to do that. And you can't just say, make this my primary. You have to release the old one first and then go on the new one and do it. There's another process if you can't do that, obviously, but it's a much longer one. So I did that and finally got it, and finally they could play and I could play at the same time on mine, and everything is great. So that was a pain to deal with. The other thing is my daughter got a Steam gift card, and as part of that, she got her own copy of Jurassic World Evolution, which she had been playing as part of my Steam library at the family sharing thing. On there, you see there's a pattern here. I share all my games with them one way or another. But because I'm playing Steam often, she's disappointed when she can't play, so she got her own copy. And she goes to load it up, and it says, we can't load your save file. Great. So I'm like, I'll deal with it later. And finally, I go to deal with it, and I look at it, and it says, oh, you don't have the DLC associated with this. I'm like, I bought her the pack that comes with all the DLC, and come to find out later, she has DLC I don't at this point. Whoops.
Wow.
So, because I bought her the bundle that was on sale during the winter sale. So I'm like, okay. And I pull up my Steam and I go, oh, I have the pre-order DLC. You can't just buy that. So I'm like, huh. So I look at it and I'm thinking, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I actually get on their support site. There's nothing mentioning it. I'm like, okay. So I submit a ticket to them, and they're like, there's no way to edit the save file to remove, the association with the DLC. You can try loading it back up with the family sharing and not use the skins that the pre-order gave you, because all it did was give you 2 skins for the vehicles. That's it. So I was like, okay. So that was a whole process. I had to research, okay, where's the save file located? Or first off, I was like, okay, well, how can I play it? I hit, because normally there's a drop down, and it's like, yeah, play from, my library on her computer. So she's playing it, from my sharing. But once you own it, those options go away. You can't just go play, his version of it. So I had to log her out of Steam, log myself in, and then I go, okay, where's the save file? Had to Google that, make a copy of the save file in my save folder, load up the game, go to every island in the game, because there's like 6, and she's unlocked 5 of them, and she's played all 5.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, I have to load up each island, go to every vehicle, and make sure they're not using the pre-order skins.
Jesus.
All right, do that, save it, then copy the save back to her profile, log out of Steam, log back in with her account, load it up, and it worked. I was like, oh, thank goodness. Because she's put like 30 hours plus into Jurassic World Evolution, and I did not want her to lose that progress. But I was so glad it actually worked.
Especially after all that headache.
Oh, yeah. To the actual games I've played this week, 3 of them, well, technically 4. I'm still playing Magic, MTG Arena. I'm still having fun with it. There are, I've talked about before, there are certain events every weekend that are special. Like last weekend was a draft where nothing cost mana, so you could just play whatever cards you wanted every turn.
Mm-hmm.
And if something had a X amount to pay, it gave you one of each color to pull from every turn. So that was fun. This weekend, it's something to do with you get treasures that give you mana every turn. Not a huge fan of that one. I played it a couple of times just to get... Well, I did it once just to try it. Didn't really care about it. And then I did it again because the first time my reward, even though I lost, my reward was a mythic rare, which is the highest rarity card. I was like, okay, that was totally worth the entry fee. So I'll do it again. That. Yeah, I did it again, and I got another mythic rare as my reward.
Holy
I was like,
shit!
All right, this is great. I think I did it one more time, and I lost, and I got an okay card. And I was like, okay, I'm done. Because I was also making that gold back from the dailies I was accomplishing at the same time. But once those stopped balancing out, I was like, okay, I'm going to save my gold. Because there's a expansion that's supposed to drop soon. New, I guess they're called expansions. And it'll have, whole new things to draft and stuff. So I want to save up my gold so I'll be able to do that when it drops.
Have you done any research to see if that's typical or if you're just super fucking lucky?
I got super lucky.
Oh, wow, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's hit or miss. I mean, typically the rewards, the way it says, it's like you are guaranteed one common and one rare, which is okay. But to get a mythic rare, 2 of them back to back, yeah, that was super lucky.
Wow.
I don't know if I've ever gotten a mythic rare from one of these reward pools. Maybe once before. But yeah, that was great. But that's just kind of my casual game. I'll play it in the mornings. I'll play it when I'm on conference calls for work and stuff and I don't have to speak. Mm-hmm. I'll just load up a game, play a match while I listen to people blabber on. Or I'll play after I'm done with work, but before I actually load up a main game I'm going to play, like I'm waiting on dinner or something.
Yeah.
Or before I go to bed because I realize I didn't finish my dailies. I'll load it up and be like, okay, I can't go to bed until I do this. Yeah, nice casual game. I still have only spent the original $5 on the welcome package they offered. I don't think I've paid anything other than that. And yeah, I can't, obviously build every deck that's in the meta, but I'm getting good cards. I'm getting lots of cards. So
definitely getting your money out of it. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. Let's see. The other game I played more of was 7 Days to Die. Continuation from last week. I've been playing this with my girlfriend. Stood up a local server and we've been playing. We are still mid-game at this point, but we're getting to that point where we're almost at that precipice where once we get to it, things are just going to suddenly skyrocket and the difficulty things should go down some. We're going to unlock a bunch of stuff at once. It's going to be one of those huge jumps in technology and whatnot. While one of the biggest takeaways from I don't even know how many more hours we put into it. I'll pull that up as I'm speaking. But one of the biggest things I took away from it was there are things that I didn't realize were there until I technically unlocked better things. I don't know when it becomes available, but you can apparently do, and I never did this in the old version really either, because I didn't really see a point to it. I kind of skipped this step, but you can make what's called flagstone, which is basically just cobblestone, which is just rocks, and that gives you more defensive properties than your, wood. But we weren't using that, and I don't know if that's unlocked from the start or that unlocked with something I did, but that's fairly easy to get, and even cement is not hard to get either. I mentioned this before, but a lot of the things that are hard to get, you can buy. But I also found out that you can just find them. When you go in a place, you'll see like boxes and bags and stuff around, crates, etc. The crates are kind of a no-brainer. Yeah, go check the crates out. But these bags just look like not sandbags, but kind of the fertilizer bag type, those type of big bags, 50-pound bags, etc.
Yeah.
And they'd just be stacked up on pallets. I was like, okay, they're just, decoration or whatever. But I was demolishing something near our base, or actually I went and finally found a city and went in and got a bunch of cool stuff. And I was just demolishing stuff to clear some space out. And I hit it, and it makes the sound like it does when you're digging dirt. So I bring out my shovel and start digging it. Oh, I'm getting cement from these bags. These are cement bags. They're not just decoration. They actually have resources in them. They're not just cloth, which is what I believe in the old version they were. They were just decoration. You could get a little bit of cloth from them.
Right.
I started breaking the boxes. The cardboard boxes have mechanical parts in them and other little things in them, which mechanical parts are one of the bottlenecks in the old version. It's so much easier now. A lot of the stuff, like getting a wrench, was one of the main things you needed to do in the old version. And it's so much easier now, especially with the way the traders are in their quests I talked about before. You can just buy one if you have bad luck finding it.
Nice.
So yeah, we're still trying to figure out things, but we still have not had a horde night where we didn't get at least one layer of our defenses breached, which is abnormal for us. In the old version, after the first couple, we just dominated them, but I think our last horde night, though, neither of us died. Our base was breached, but we got to our second layer upstairs, shot through a window in a one wide, choke point, mowed them down. They almost took the supports of the base out, but they didn't. Thanks to my engineering, accidental engineering genius. The walls were able to support themselves without the center column, which we've now reinforced as high as we can. So hopefully it won't happen again, because they will go after whatever they go after. And if they're stacked on top of each other, like they'll break the ladder out from under themselves because the top one's hitting the wall or the door, but the one underneath them is hitting the block they're standing on. So gradually they kind of have this domino effect where they start falling down because they're knocking things out from under themselves because they're stupid zombies. So it's a mess. But it's coming along. It's getting to the point now we're getting to those grindy areas where, okay, now we need 2,000 iron to really upgrade our stuff. And now I need 20 more levels before I really unlock the next tier that'll help us with defenses. Oh, hey, we have electricity. Don't have the traps unlocked yet, or the ones we want anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So and that's kind of been my biggest takeaway from this version. And a little bit of the last is the levels make such a difference now. And it takes so long to get between these technology jumps. But it's kind of because of what I was saying, where once you get to a certain point, everything except the top tier zombies become basically useless. They don't do anything to us. Mm-hmm. We're not to that point yet, though. So we're still struggling. I just got to the point where I can make ammunition. So our next horde night, we should not have a problem. I've been stocking it up where we've got our armory ready. And yeah.
Nice.
So another game, I picked it up, or I looked at it before because it's a simulator game, but then I saw Achievement Hunter play it. And like a lot of things I watch Achievement Hunter play, I go, my God, they're bad at this. I'm going to go play it so I can actually play the game like it should be. So I downloaded the game, and I watched one episode. They just released their second episode, but the first episode was only like 20 minutes, so very little gameplay. So I went into it, figured it out, and I put in, 7 Days to Die, I put in another 25 hours or so, 20 hours-ish. Thief Simulator, I have 7 hours in now. Done a good chunk of the game as far as there is a quote-unquote story to it, which is basically just this guy telling you to do this and that, kind of teaching you or walking you through the steps of progressing your thievery. And I got to a point where now I just need to level up to unlock more stuff. But the premise of this game, Thief Simulator, I don't know if I said the name or not, but Thief Simulator is a game where you are a thief and you have to go steal stuff. You start out with nothing but the bobby pin type lockpick It's pretty much the only tool you have other than a crowbar. Those are your go-tos. You just bash a window open or something with a crowbar.
No arm blades yet?
Nope.
Okay.
And you have these jobs you'll get where it's like, yeah, go into this place, steal their TV.
You get it.
Or break their toilet, or, random things like, why am I just breaking these people's wine glasses? Okay, you're going to pay me $300 to do it? Sure, why not? I'll steal everything they own in the process too, and then break their wine glasses just to, give them a good screw you. It's an amusing game. I think it does kind of taper off at the point I'm at where I need to literally grind stealing stuff to progress the story part and to unlock more stuff. Because you have one neighborhood you're targeting. I just unlocked a second. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. But then the second has all these things you need, higher technology thief tools that you don't have. And it's like, oh, yeah, I'll be able to do that in 3 levels. Well, what do I do until then? It's like, oh, well, there's a, job on the computer that says, hey, go steal this thing from this house. Oh, I can't yet because I don't have that higher tier thing. Okay, well, I guess I'll just go find stuff on my own that gives me, not as good experience. So it's a fun little game. It is not an early access game. It is a fully released game. I want to say I got it I think I bought it while I was on sale, but it's $20. I think I got it for probably 15 or so.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was worth it for what it is. I've played enough simulator games where I have, I know how to set my expectations. It's pretty much met what I expected for $15, $20.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a silly little game. The thing that blew my mind the most about this game is like, this is my most viewed game on Twitch now, like for the last year. I'm like, why are people coming in here watching me play Thief Simulator when they're not watching me play, 7 Days to Die or Spider-Man or, these other good games? They're watching me play Thief Simulator. Okay, sure.
Chris, did you say Twitch?
Yeah.
You got more stuff for your week?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if you want to talk about that, that's why I didn't mention it.
Yeah, I forgot it because I have no memory.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I got one more game to talk about. So the last game I played, and the game I've been playing the most besides 7 Days, is Dragon Quest XI. I had started this before, and I only played 2 hours of it.
Mm-hmm.
I've now added 15 hours to that total, so I'm up to 17 hours in it.
Nice. I think that's about what I have right now as well on the books. It's like 2 hours, but it's more like, okay, whoa, I need a whoa on this RPG. I'm RPG'd out for a minute. I'll come back to you another time.
Did you get to the title screen? I think that's at like 2.5 hours.
I don't even know, man.
Yeah, I didn't apparently when I started in those 2 hours. It was about 30 minutes in. I got
my way up the mountainside and doing the trial. That's barely all
way after that.
I barely remember. Yeah.
So, Dragon Quest XI RPG, part of a huge franchise, etc. I don't think I need to talk about too much what it is. This game in particular, it starts out kind of a little slow. I wasn't really, nothing was pulling me in, but this is one of those RPGs, one of these games where the longer you play, the more you get into it. Mm-hmm. I've had a couple moments where when I thought about it and thought about, how I felt about it and stuff, I go, man, these are Persona moments. It's like, okay, this music kicked in right at this time, and it was just a perfect moment, perfect music for that moment. I was like, that's a Persona moment. That music kicks in, you're like, yeah, I feel this. It goes with what's happening. Or some NPCs are, as they become party members, say things. I'm like, this is a Persona moment. These NPCs are reminding me of, NPCs you interact with in Persona and stuff, and the way they talk to you and the interaction and stuff. And it was like, man, this game has its moments like that. Not obviously as much as Persona does, etc., but they're in there. So as I play more and more and have these moments, I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep playing, and it's kept me drawn in. The combat system, I went into the settings and turned off the free roaming camera thing. So, because you can just move around the battlefield as you want when you're in combat, but it doesn't do anything. And that bothers me. So I disabled that. Now I have a fixed camera. I say it's fixed, but it moves around as characters do stuff, but I don't control it anymore. And I can't move while I'm in combat anymore. I was like, okay, now it's what I expect from an RPG.
So old classic stuff, yeah.
Yeah. I love that they have the, auto fight stuff, and you can choose kind of the quote unquote personality, all out, spend your MP, do whatever you want, or don't use MP at all, or do a mix, or hey, for the healer, only heal. Do not do anything else.
Right.
I love having those AI options, and I've learned that MP's not a huge issue unless you're like about to fight a boss, which I don't think there are enough of, by the way. You just go all out. You're probably going to get to a campfire where you can rest, or get to a city where you can rest, or you level up and your MP and HP are fully restored when you level up. So I'm like, okay, I'll just go all out and level up, and hey, no problem solved. Then I turn it off. I'm about to fight a boss after I level.
It's good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, there are lots of quality of life things that are really good about it. I remembered after a few minutes that, I can hold right trigger and sprint. So that was nice. Instead of walking slowly across the map, I was like, I feel like I'm slow. And I started pressing buttons. There it is. That was a silly moment. The crafting system, I love this crafting system. It feels like it matters. By doing it, you're actually benefiting yourself. There are a lot of cases where my biggest issue with the crafting system is the recipes. The way you have to get them is you either have to complete quests, which I don't mind doing, or you have to find them, which they're just randomly in a chest somewhere, which usually I'll stumble across. That's fine. Or they'll be on some random NPC's bookshelf in their house. It's like, okay, so now I have to go in and check. Do I see a red book? Because red books are the ones you can interact with. You can't interact with any bookshelf without one.
Yeah.
So like, do I see a red book? Yes. Okay, go check it. Oh, nope, not relevant. Okay, go check another one. Oh, hey, here's a recipe. I don't like how spread out the recipes are, and they often feel like they're not timed well. Like I get to a city, and it's like, hey, the shop has this item. I'm like, hey, that's an upgrade. In the same city will be the recipe for an item that is an upgrade to what the city has.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, I just spent all my money on upgrading stuff. So now whenever I get to a new city, I'm like, do I really want to upgrade? What recipes are? I actually went online and pulled up a list of recipes in order. So as I get to a city, I'm like, okay, is there one nearby? Yes. Okay, then I'll go get that and then do my own comparisons just to make sure, because crafting materials aren't difficult to come by, but you certainly don't want to waste them.
Right.
But the crafting system itself, with the way you craft, you can do from a regular item like you buy from the shop up to a +3 version of it.
Wow.
And as you're crafting, you have kind of a little mini game thing where you're smelting it and you choose which parts of it you're smelting at a time. And you have basically a bar you're trying to get in. And then within that bar that is your goal, you have an arrow. And if you land on that arrow, that part of it is considered perfect. Right. If you get at least one, you're going to get a +1. It depends how many there are. For something I made earlier, there were only 2 bars. I got one of them perfect, one of them not. It was like +2, and it wasn't perfect. To get +3, it has to be perfect, which is, I believe, a majority. So if there are 2, it has to be both. If there are 3, it has to be 2, etc.
Right.
If there are 4, I think it has to be 3 as well. And it's difficult to do. It's random, but by making the right decisions, you increase your odds, with how close you get to it naturally. And then you may crit a hit and it lands, or you just get lucky and it stops on it, not being a crit. So this, like I said, I really like this crafting system. Story is interesting. I'm getting more to the point where, like I said, I had those Persona moments, and that's kind of story related things that really, I was like, okay, I'm curious about this now. I want to know more about this, but it's spread out, I think, too far. They're like, yeah, you're this person, or we're going to, help you with this. And it's like, okay, on to the next city. I'm like, but tell me more. You know who I am. you're telling me these things, but you're not actually telling me anything. You're just telling me, yeah, I'm going to help you. Well, why? What's special about me? You know, why? Yeah, it's fate, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But sure. Why?
Yeah, you need more development than that.
Yeah. So I think I'm getting closer to where it'll hopefully ramp up as far as that goes. I just unlocked a lot of stuff at once as far as places I can go. And there's obviously, you know, one place I should go, but of course I went to 3 other ones first, just to see what would happen. I don't know for sure, but I think this game does some scaling with you, because I went to a city that I shouldn't go to yet, and the equipment in the shop was the same as the city I was supposed to go to. So I think it might scale the shops to where you are so that you're not able to like jump ahead like that.
That's interesting.
I'll know for sure once the game tells me to go back to that place.
Right.
If it even does. That city that I went to that was the same, it might be the same because it doesn't matter. Yeah. That may be a purely side quest area and nothing main story related. Totally feasible. Because an NPC made a comment and I was like, okay, so I'm supposed to come here after where I'm at now? But no, this is the city I was in. That side quest was a place that in the timeline makes sense before the city I went to. So like this was an in-between for the NPC I'm following, but not for me. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, and I really won't know for sure until I progress a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, interesting story overall. Like I was saying earlier, I do think there should be more bosses. I feel like they're spread out a little too far, and it's hard, as weird as it sounds, it's hard for me to determine what's a mini boss and what's an actual boss. Because they pretty much had like the same difficulty.
Yeah.
I'm probably over leveled because I fight a lot of stuff, especially when I'm trying to explore areas and stuff. I won't just run around exploring. I will kill every single thing in my path. I will chase enemies down that are running away from me to kill them.
Yeah, same here.
And yeah, the game makes it easy to do that. And like I said, with the AI going all out, I can just hit fight, and then they kill the enemies and I go on. So it's not that bad as far as real-time use. I think I'm level 21 or 2 now. I jumped levels really fast from around 15, I think. As things opened up and I got more party members, because you start out just you, and then you get one more guy, and, you know, and then eventually you have your party of 4. And then you have people you can swap out in that party of 4. So that flexibility makes leveling go faster. I'm trying to think if there's anything else about Dragon Quest to talk about. I think that's it. I think that'll do it for me.
All right, Adam, if you don't mind, got a couple little snippets to squeeze in here before we get to yours.
Alrighty.
So one, ADGQ is approaching. Advanced Game Done Quick starts on January the 6th at 11:30 in the morning. And the first game they're going to start with is Hollow Knight. It's an hour-and-a-half long run. You can pull up you can just search ADGQ 2019 schedule, and it'll have the list of all the games, the times, and all that stuff. Note, Chris, in here, day, I gotta find it now. Let's see, this is January 11th. Final Fantasy 11, any percent is getting played Friday, January 11th. That's something.
Hold
gonna be
on,
interesting.
what?
Yeah, that's what it says. Unless they mistyped. Wait, let me see.
Final Fantasy 9.
Damn it, yeah, I'm retarded. Oh, I was really hoping that would be so fucking crazy. It's like, you're doing an MMORPG in GDQ? What?
I'd watch it.
I would totally watch it. So yeah, that's a little piece of news for the world. They support ADGQ. Definitely check it out. It's good stuff. Second thing, half because, Super Best Friends are no more, and I'm kind of itching for some more content from some of those people. I've been watching Wooly Versus videos. That's Wooly's solo channel. Mainly, I've been watching some of his Kirby lore, but I've been watching the Nier Automata gameplay. It's got about 50, 60 episodes in. Half because, one, I'm itching for some Wooly content, and second, because if you know how you can, somebody that really, really enjoys a game can entertain you as they play it, even though you don't like it. All the Super Best Friends cast, they all love the Nier series, which Nier was okay. Nier was pretty good. And then they do like Nier Automata. So I'm trying to see through I'm trying to live vicariously through Wooly's eyes. Wooly and Liam, they're playing it together. Seeing if I like it anymore. And again, man, there's a lot of good things. There's a lot of things this game does good, but so much just falls flat on the story for me. Lastly, so yeah, Twitch. Oh boy. I'm trying to make this really quick. Wife was home one day before we were about to go out to a very expensive dinner, and she's doing her makeup, and she gets a phone call. She's like, "Hey, I think we should investigate this call. They were like asking for our bank account information, saying something about fraud." And I was like, okay, let's look it up. We looked at the number, and it was a fraud thing. And I said, all right, if it's something to do with our bank, let me check our bank account real quick and see what's up. I check our bank account, and there are 19 $24.99 transactions coming out of our account from Twitch. It says Twitch subscriptions. I said, what the fuck? So we call the fraud number back, and it was indeed our banking institution has a fraud line, and if they see so much shit, if they see too many weird things, they call us, they lock our account and go, hey, some shit's going down. Apparently, so of course I went through phone calls and had to get our card canceled, and had to go to the bank and do a fraudulent report and all this kind of shit. Basically, at the end of the day, what has happened, folks, is, and I love Chris at some time to talk to you to see what it looks like on your end. My Twitch account was completely hacked. They got my username and password somehow, don't know how, irrelevant. They found the email that my shit goes to. That once they got into my account, they changed everything. They changed my email, so I can't get into my Twitch account at all. And so while they changed my login, they changed my password, they changed the email, they may have changed the username for all I know, but then they went and gifted themselves 19 separate $25 gift subscriptions, basically close to $500 worth of free shit. And talking to the fraud department, yeah, that was they charged way more than that. They charged close to 60 times, but only 19 made it through. So yeah. What's pissing me off the most about this? So the positive first. I went to my bank and I filed a dispute. My banking institution they have refunded me all that money. And now they are going to go after Twitch. And here's what really fucking pisses me off about this whole situation. And people are going to suffer for it, not Twitch. People are going to suffer for this. I have emailed Twitch no less than 4 fucking times now, because Twitch is another one of those companies out there that's too fucking good to have a contact phone number. I can't contact somebody and talk to somebody. The number that is out there for Twitch is not even for Twitch. It's some bogus number. They only want you to contact them via email. I've contacted them via email 4 separate times and have given them all the details I could possibly give them, and I've got nothing back but automated responses that's like, hey, we see your email, we see you're having login problems, do this. And it's like, no, I'm not just having a login problem. Someone stole fucking money out of my fucking checking account, you asshole. Can somebody help me? Can you email me back? Here's my phone number. Can you call me? Can I speak to somebody about this whole situation? Because I'd like to have my money back, and I like my account unlocked because they've changed everything. I'm really pissed off because this is going on over a week now, and I still have yet to hear from one fucking Twitch representative. Hey, I'm John from Twitch Tech Support. Sorry to hear about your trouble. This is what's going on. I had to have my bank refund the money, which is fine by me because now the bank's going to go after them instead of me having to do it. But I still can't get into my account. So sorry, Chris, and sorry, Salty Bet, and sorry, Burning the Midnight Oil Gaming. Sorry to everybody that I have subscriptions out there for. They're cut off because my card's cut off, and I can't even get into my account to change them to another form of payment. So
yep, somewhere out there in the ether, that guy's sitting there like, yep, we're doing pretty hard up this month, but as soon as I get that $1.25 that my one subscriber has, it's going to make everything all right. We're not going to have to sell the house. The kids are going to be able to eat. And he's waiting.
Yep.
And he's waiting.
And it never
the money
comes
never
through.
comes. The money never comes, man.
Yeah. And I mean, it really sucks because Twitch is just a platform, I donate my money to Chris and to Salty Bet producer and Burning the Midnight Oil Gaming guy. I don't donate that money to Twitch, but this is putting such a sour taste in my mouth that I'm thinking about just, hey, is my account unlocked? Okay, delete the fucking account and fuck Twitch. Money from people's pockets that had nothing to do with this, but I'm not getting any support. I'm not getting any help. And my money was missing, and my account is blocked, and it's a really shitty situation. So at the end of the day, again, I got my money back at least, so there's always that. But Twitch, you really, really need to fucking step up this customer support game. Apparently they used to have a number. They used to have a customer service line like everybody else, but for some odd reason, they have, like some companies are doing these days, nope. Only contact us via email. So, rant over. Yeah. Adam, how's your week been, buddy? Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Try to.
You want me to follow that up?
Try to breathe.
Try to just
try
take
to
the
breathe
piss out
some
of my
light
entire
into
week.
this pissy mood of mine.
Oh, God.
This is a challenge. I think you can
breathe
do
light
it.
into your day. All right. Most of 99% of my week is Single Dad Simulator 2018. All right, let's see. I got about 2 hours into Persona, and most of that, if not all of that, was spent in Mementos. So there you go. Managed to. I've realized that I probably did some shit out of order because like one of the levels didn't have a boss. I just kind of walked straight through. You know how you get to that little in-between spot before you go to the next one? And I was just like, huh, look, there's a door. I guess I'll go through it. Nobody's going to stop me.
But there's so many in there, it's okay.
I'm going to go back and find whoever the fuck it was and beat their ass. But yeah, that's happened. So basically just grinding up, doing that little thing. You told me about where you just kind of go in there and burn a couple days to get, a little extra money, a little extra XP. So, just doing that. Still working that same palace because I've got absolutely no free time. Oh my God. What little free time I did have, though, managed to get some anime in. And, I don't know if I mentioned this on the last podcast I was on, but I did find a Persona anime popped up. The Persona anime popped up into my feed. I went through there and I was like, oh, I wonder where I'm at in the story. And I'm pretty close to the end. I'm like 3/4 the way through the anime is where I'm at. So I'm like, oh, I'm doing pretty good. I stopped reading episode descriptions once I got to mine. I was like, oh, nope, there's where I stop. Good. So not gonna watch the anime until after. Not even gonna watch like the part up until where I'm at, just for the sake of maybe there's like the big bad is like seen in the background going, oh, they're here now. Oh, because I've never seen the anime and I don't know who the final villain is gonna be, and I don't want it to be revealed just because of the differences between the forms of media. They could have like the bad guy kind of, cutting the scenes of him and him talking shit or something.
Yeah, just in case. Good practice.
I don't want something to accidentally happen. So, haven't watched that yet. It is on my list. Even though I've heard it's bad, I've heard it's not a good anime, and that's just a general thing I've heard around. It's not. No specifics were given, so we will find out. Goblin Slayer wrapped up, so that was pretty cool. And at the end of it, it did say Goblin Slayer will return, so there will be a season 2, despite how rocky of a start it got. I think it ended pretty well. Like I said, I was following along with the manga and the light novels. And I think they did a pretty good job with the anime overall. Tonally, it shifts quite a bit, But overall, I'd say it was one of the better animes to come out this year.
Mm-hmm.
Bunny Girl Senpai wrapped up. That, of course, was amazing. That probably one of the best, if not the best anime to come out this year, period. Full stop. Character, oh man, you get used to the tropes of the genre, and this, I can't even think of, any of them that wasn't played just to be turned on its head.
Yeah,
they were like, oh, they walked in on a, they spoiled minor spoilers, but there is this part where the protagonist ends up in like a compromising looking situation where if anybody else had walked in, they'd been like, what the fuck? And instead of playing it the way a normal anime does, where the female lead runs off and gets angry about it or whatever, he just immediately runs up and catches her and goes, oh, that was some bullshit. And she's like, I figured. You don't have the balls to cheat on me, you piece of shit. It's like, well,
called out, bro.
So that the relationships are so realistic, and it's just, friendly ribbon back and forth, but it's like, it's very refreshing to see that kind of writing, and all of the characters are written that well. So it was a very, very good show. I recommend it to anybody. I hope they come out with a season 2. I'm not sure if they ever will, but it is a must watch for this season, and pretty much in general, to be totally honest with you, because it's already kind of at that level. Had new episodes of SAO came out. SAO being what it is, it's just popcorn. Still like the concept, but I mean, it gets very, how do I describe it? It gets wordy. The high concept starts to be like, oh, well, they start throwing around words like fluck lights and this is what this is and this is what that is. And it's like, just play the fucking game. I want to see the game. I want to see you do stuff. Don't try to be smarter than you are. You dumb fucking shonen battle anime looking. just show me some cool action scenes. But it had a moment in it that might have been actually worse than Goblin Slayer's first episode.
Oh wow.
So yeah, one of the channels I follow, Mother's Basement, pretty much tried to take the piss out of Goblin Slayer, and I have yet to see their episode on SAO's episode. So I'm waiting for that. Speaking of reruns earlier, I went back and watched Konosuba all over again, the entire series.
Wow, the whole thing.
Yeah, over the last 2 weeks, I went through the entire damn thing. And that was amazing. That is a awesome anime if anybody hasn't seen it.
I don't know if I have that one in mind, but if I don't, I've got it written down now.
Konosuba is a isekai anime that takes the piss out of all the other isekai animes. Isekais being where the protagonist is like from one world and he goes to another. And he's like, oh, I'm from the modern times, but I got thrown back into the fantasy era, or I got thrown into a video game, or I got thrown into blah, 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 blah. And it just takes literally every one of the tropes and just like all the characters are horrible people. You know, you find like the cutesy good girl, and she's like completely fucking evil and selfish and hating, you know, is just really spiteful, and you know, it's all played for laughs. It does such a good job. Yeah, it's a good show if you ever haven't seen it. And the newest one that I saw tonight while I was waiting on the podcast to start, Legend of the Shield Hero. Now, I'd read the first couple episodes of the first couple books of the manga, and I was kind of waiting to see if this was going to get made into an anime and I almost immediately had that confirmed, but God, this is so good. It's really so good, and I don't know if I love the way they started it off, because it's another one of those isekais where it's, you know, okay, guys, you know, he's just a normal dude, college student. He goes into a library to read a book, and then he gets transported into the world that he was just reading about. And they immediately, it starts off like doing the normal beats of every other show in the genre, and you're like, okay, here comes another vanilla anime. I'm just going to kind of turn my brain off and watch this. And then it immediately turns it around on you. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. And just spoilers for the opening, unless you don't want it. Heads, tails.
Oh, I don't mind.
Okay. Then the first part of it, he gets summoned there. There's 4 heroes. There's the spear, the bow, the sword, and the shield. And the weakest one of them is supposedly the shield. So he gets the shield, of course, which is utter garbage. And he shows up, and all the other heroes, they all get, you know, met by the king, and the king is like, all right, I'm going to give y'all some money, and I've got this giant pool of adventurers, and they're going to pick who they want to go with, and then y'all can get started on your quest, level up, do all your stuff. And so everybody picks their sides, and nobody picks him. So everybody, I mean, there's like 40, or like probably about 30 people there, and 0 of them. They have to split into 4 groups, and there are 0 people in his group. Wow. And he's like, oh, well, this fucking sucks. Nobody wants to come with me. And then finally one of the girls from the other guy's party goes, oh, you know what? I'll go with you. And he's like, oh, man, that's cool. And so they go out and they begin, like, first thing they do is buy some armor and stuff like that. And he finds out he can't use any weapon other than his shield. It's got, like, video game rules. So he literally has a level he can track. And he can't equip items that are other than the shield. He can equip armor, but no attack weapons. Anything he has the intent to use as a weapon, he can't. So if he picked up a rock, it would shock him if he meant to throw it at somebody.
Yeah.
So they go out and they spend the whole day grinding. And he finds out some stuff about his shield, and, you know, they get a little stuff, a little XP, and they go back to the item shop, and he buys her, like, a full suit of armor, and she's like, yeah, we're gonna go to this dungeon tomorrow, and da-da-da-da-da, and she's, you know, you can tell kind of like she's, like, sweet on him. And you're like, oh, man, this is shaping up to be, you know, the normal, you know, isekai kind of thing, where, oh, man, he met the girl first, and now she's best girl, and blah, 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 blah. He goes out, and he gets her, you know, he basically buys her and him dinner, and they get, you know, they use this big sack of gold. The king gave him extra gold because he didn't have anybody with him. Mm-hmm. And so he uses some of that to buy her some really badass fucking armor. And they go and they have dinner at the tavern or whatever. And he's like, you know, it's really good that I met you. You're a really cool person, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, well, you want to sit down and have a drink with me? We're going to have, you know, she's like drinking her wine with dinner. And she's like, I'm probably going to have a couple more glasses before I go to bed. And he goes, oh, you know, I don't drink. Yeah, I think I'm just going to turn in early. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll get started. Goes upstairs, goes to sleep, puts his new armor and all the rest of his gold that he's got left over and all this other stuff, puts it on his the end of his bed and the desk that's in his room. Wakes up the next morning and everything's gone. So he's like, what the fuck? Did I get robbed? And he goes over there and he starts banging on the chick's door like, hey, wake up, we got a problem. And right then, like, the king's knights bust in. And they're like, yeah, well, you're going to need to come with us. The king has summoned you. And he's like, well, I've got a problem too, actually. And they go, no, you need to come with us now. Cut to the next scene. He's being thrown down in front of the king. Like, to his knees. And he's like, what? And he looks up and he sees that girl that was in his party. And she's like crying on the shoulder of one of the other heroes. And she goes into detail about how he like got drunk and raped her and all these other things. And he's
what?
She's a savage monster. And, you know, and they're like, you know, if you weren't one of the 4 heroes, we'd fucking kill you on the spot. This is like a death penalty worth offense. And he's like, since I can't kill you and we need you to defeat these blah, 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 blahs, you know, we can't, you know, imprison you. But what we are going to do is make sure that everyone in town knows exactly what you did. Wow. And everybody else for the rest of the show just treats him like utter shit, like the rapist he is, or is said to be. Yeah. You know, and it shows him walking down the street and people just part ways and start whispering to each other, and shopkeepers start ripping him off. Yeah, like the guy he bought the armor from, he had like a good like repertoire with, and he walks up. The guy just like is like, really? That girl you were with yesterday, you just fucking raped her? What a piece of shit! Oh man! And it's like, oh man, you know. And that's it goes a little bit farther, but you know, just to give you a hint of how this whole thing like flipped around, it's so good. So good. I'm looking forward to seeing more of the manga, and I'm really looking forward to watching more episodes of this. The first episode was 45 minutes. Oh, it was so good. Sounds so good. Other than that, I've been watching a lot of Star Trek. I know, like I said, just watching old moments and trying to, you know, I've always been kind of partial to it, but I like seeing their little explanations for, you know, how other races deal with each other, and so, you know, that kind of stuff's really up my alley. I don't know, it's just been one of those things where it's so much fun to watch stuff go on, you know, and seeing like old moments and things you remember, and then rewatching, because a lot of these episodes, it's been over 10 years since I saw, you know. And you know, they have things where like they open up little anomalies and they go into little alternate universes, and things going wrong with the holodeck, which was one of the topics conversation we had earlier this week. Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, tell your theory to the audience at large. This is
okay. Oh man. All right. So we were talking about VR gaming, and we were talking about how VR gaming, and this is a completely different discussion, but there comes a point where VR gets to holodeck levels. Okay, where you can sense the heat and you feel like you're falling and everything's around you and blah, 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 blah. Once you get to that point, that's the end of humanity. The holodeck will end humanity.
I think this is an extreme theory, and
it is not.
We're talking centuries in the future potentially, but you're saying that when the holodeck technology finally comes around and everybody can have it, a la like Ready Player One, humanity's done.
Humanity is donezo right then, that day. The government will suppress that technology, or the human race will pay the price, because what you're going to have is you're going to have a bunch of bright young men that are like, well, I could go out and work hard and do all this stuff and start a family and propagate the human race and do good things for my fellow man, you know, at least put work in to help them out and stuff. Or I could go on the holodeck and bang hot chicks all fucking day long. climb mountains, do whatever I want, fly. You know,
I just don't think it's gonna be.
I could be Mega Man in the holodeck. Can I be Mega Man in real
all
life?
right.
Fuck
now
no, I
you're
can't.
Fucking treading on ground.
It's like, do I want to play Final Fantasy VII and be Cloud and, you know, do all these cool backflips and stuff? Or do I want to go work as a wage slave and come home to my mediocre looking wife and, you know,
also want to point out this is not sole subject to men. I think women are subjected as
oh yeah, I mean they just same thing. You know, they come home to their average-looking husband, like, oh yeah,
oh my God,
I can go slave away and wash dishes, and then maybe, you know, once in a blue moon we can like go out to eat or something like that, or I could, you know, go have an adventure with John McClane.
But the human race have to procreate.
They have to, and that's why they will die as soon as the holodeck is
That's why
ready.
they will take the headset off and then go
they
procreate.
won't. They will not, because that's even less holodeck time for you. Think about it. If you can't go in the holodeck if you got kids, you got shit to do. You got diapers to change. That holodeck's off limits for you, buddy. You better fucking set a timer.
They would. Oh God, I don't like where
I
this
mean,
is going.
yeah. I'm just
that's
saying.
That's kind of taking the what's that? Idiocracy? Is that the name of the movie?
I'd say it's a cross between Idiocracy and you remember Robosexuality from Futurama?
No.
Yeah. Robosexuality was a concept in Futurama where robosexuality was illegal, not because they thought it was icky or they thought you shouldn't do it, but because there was absolutely no way that it could exist and humanity continue.
Yeah.
They were like, yep. And they showed this little kid and he's like, he gets his first robot. He's like, hey, she's like, I'm going to show you the ropes. Then they show him flash forward. He's gone from like being 16 to being like 78. And he just lays there and fucking dies next to like whatever that one real famous chick was that was in Kill Bill. God, I can't remember.
Yeah, Uma Thurman.
Nah, no, the other one, the Asian looking one. I can't remember what her name was. Lucy Liu?
Yeah,
Lucy Liu?
Sure.
Yeah. So it was a Lucy Liu looking doll, or, you know, automaton.
Yeah, Lucy Liu was in Futurama.
Yeah. And, yeah.
So a couple holes in this argument.
Let's go for it.
Aside from let's fucking do this. So,
all right.
One, you're gonna have the all naturals. You know, you're gonna have the ones that are like, yeah, I don't do all that virtual reality shit, and it could be a mentality of just being old school mentality, or they're like, no, I want to fuck a man, I want to fuck a woman, I want to have children, I want to do marriage and drive around in a fucking car and experience life in the real world. Okay. You're gonna have a subset of people that are like that, and if anything, they will continue the human race.
Okay, but before you move on to your next point, let me just address this.
That's fine. That's good. Yeah.
With any technology, you're going to have that group of people, but as that technology lasts, that group gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And so you have people right now, they're like, I don't need social media, I'll go talk to people face to face. And as they dwindle, and I've seen the most hardcore people that thought Facebook was the stupidest thing ever, and that people wasted all their time being on it, go, well, you know, I got a Facebook now, and it really does make it simpler to keep up with my friends and family across the country. I can keep up with people I never thought I'd see again, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Eventually, if the technology is good enough, it will win those people over, or those people will die and their children will not feel the same way.
But on the flip side, it's kind of not a good comparison, because those that aren't procreating will die out before the others will, in theory.
Only
because
if their kids don't take that same route.
Well, yes, that's why I said in theory, you know, presuming they are, let's say they're a subsect of humanity at that point. They and their children will not use this blasphemy
Yeah, the holodeck is the devil kind of people.
Yeah. Yeah. They will technically, as long as they continue and their mindset doesn't change, they should outlive the rest because the rest aren't procreating.
That would be the idea, but whether or not those are enough people to sustain humanity, that's anyone's guess. And whether or not they can then find another set of, breeders within the local area that they can, their kids can breed with,
Hey,
Are you a breeder or are you a vert? What are you?
The Targaryens did it. Why not,
Yeah, I mean, the only female within 50 miles is your sister. So, figure it out.
Second point, to just smash this idea into smithereens, somebody has to build and maintain all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Every person is going to have their holodeck in some size or fashion, whether it be the size of a bathroom stall or the size of an entire mansion. That has to be manufactured, built, and maintained, and whatever all the online function that to have people living in the same world together. Not everything can be holodecked. You can't have the entire human race. So people have to be unplugged to keep the plugged up there. You're going to have a lot of maintenance babies.
You think that, but how much of that could be automated? Some machine running a protocol and just following a flowchart.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, that's all real maintenance is. It's just flowcharts. It's like, if not this, then check that. If not that, then check this. But
then you have resources and stuff that, sure, the collection of it can be automated, but finding it and all that, again, depends how technology progresses at that point in time where we're even having this worry, if you will.
I'm just saying that this is a threat that's looming on the horizon, and I'm the one calling it out right now. I
mean, look at it right now. There is a subset that will put on their VR and attach that thing to their genitals, and
that wouldn't help them at all. They don't have eyes down there.
Go on.
That's not how VR works. It's a headset, not a headset.
What?
Got it. Got him. I get the argument. I get the statement. It does make sense. It does. If you really sit down and think about it, if somebody offers to you, hey, pick your favorite video game of all time. Now you can be in that video game, in that reality, and you can have it detailed the way that you want to. Like if I play Mega Man 4, you can have it look like Mega Man 4 graphics, but you play Mega Man, and from the sights to the smells to the feeling to everything that has all these neuron connections jacked in the back of your neck, so everything you feel like you're in a reality, even though there's a human you back there. It's so visceral and real and awesome. Why would you want to leave? You take away all the limitations that humans have in the reality. You don't need to sleep anymore. And if you do need to sleep in the real world, we have supplements for that. We'll feed vitamins into your system. There's all kind of ways around it. But in the game or movie or whatever you're jacked into, when you take that off and you're like, oh man, now I'm back to this. Now I'm back to this apartment and the rent and the washing dishes or the fucking scrubbing tables or building other things or whatnot. Nah, I think I'm gonna go spend another month in Assassin's Creed, whatever. I get the appeal.
This time I'm going to the Revolutionary period, or this time I'm going back to ancient, Greece, or and they just keep coming in and out. They get a little bit more, pale and emaciated each time until they die, or they just fail to be attractive enough to find a mate.
So again, they would die out much quicker. The extremes always die out much quicker.
But I'm saying when the extreme becomes the norm.
So you're assuming it will be the norm.
I am making the case that if it does become the norm, then it is over with. I'm not
It's not
saying that we
sustainable,
would, because I don't think that it would ever become. There are a lot of things and factors in play, like Mike was saying, that would, in order for this technology to proliferate in the first place. For one, I imagine the power requirements being astronomical. So you've got to live in almost a Star Trek-like universe where you're post-scarcity and, you don't have to work if you don't want to.
We've already discovered Mass Effect technology at this point, so it's all good.
Once you're there, and Star Trek would beat the brakes off Mass Effect's world. But that's another episode, Adam. Don't you beat the utter brakes off of it. My God. I don't even know Star Trek's universe that well, but no. Spank them.
The Reapers would fuck the Borg. Get out of my face.
The Reapers are the Borg. So, there's that. That would be weird. Which one wins? But say you lived in a world where work wasn't required to be done, like you could just convert energy into whatever form of matter you wanted to, like they can with the replicators. So they can get a steel bar just as easily as they can get a cup of coffee hot at exactly this temperature, They're living it pretty good in the first place, but if you end up in that kind of situation and then you can automate the maintenance and etc., you're looking at a catastrophic event possibly occurring, especially if you're so far into the future that all these things exist.
Yeah.
You may not have there may not be enough, people that are wised up to it to maintain the population levels.
There are some human things that we need to get squashed out of the way first. We need to develop a pill that negates sleep. That's the first thing we need. We need another pill that you eat it and it's all 3 square meals a day, all the required nutrients all in one go. And then we need a way to get rid of waste material without it being an issue. Once that happens, when you step in your holodeck, you don't physically in the real world need to step out. Yeah, I can totally see that start to just...
Star Trek had that covered. Star Trek can convert matter into energy and energy into matter, so if you were to take a piss in the holodeck, I assume it would just get converted back into energy.
Oh, God, you hope it does.
You would hope so. Otherwise, you got to clean that shit up.
Oh, no. I've never thought about that.
They're mopping up piss after it goes back to being a grid. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not that much of a Trekkie to find out what the fuck happens to piss in the holodeck.
Trekkie fans out there, please let us know.
If you know whether or not the holodeck converts shit and piss into fucking energy, or if it's just laying there on the floor when you're done, like people have stepped on it because that was like 30 minutes ago and y'all been walking around.
Yeah, here we go. Fucking third grade toilet humor. Let's do it. If you get
I'm just saying, Commander Riker comes out of the holodeck with like shit all over his shoes. Like, where the fuck did this go? Oh God! He's tracking it all down the carpet.
When Michael said, "Hey, we'll talk about VR tonight," this is not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there were other conversations that was supposed to spin off of this, but seems like we're going to save those for another day. Today, it's what happens if I have to teleport from the ship to 4 planets away, and I got to take a shit in the middle of the teleport. What really happens?
They just take the shit and they beam it out of your ass.
There are many ways to get a hold of us here. You can email us at
What have we devolved to?
These are the pressing issues of the End of Time cast.
What happens to your shit during teleportation? Drunk
and you stumble into the holodeck and you're like, oh yeah, here we go. Well, beam me up. You get beamed up and oh man, what happens?
Oh, there's that other conversation about what happens to people when they get in a transporter. Do you fucking die and like a doppelganger is made wherever it teleports you to? That's scary.
That's the biggest thing.
That is hugely scary. It's like, you you die. You step in the teleporter, it kills you by, disassembling your atoms. Then a doppelganger is formed somewhere else, and it takes over with all your memories.
Is it the same you, or is it a different you? Do you have a soul? What happens to your soul in the process?
It can't replicate your soul.
Well, I mean, does it go with you? Does it, go back to your body? All these things that, teleportation is scary when you really think about it.
Yeah, teleportation is probably the scariest thing in Star Trek, because it's like, oh, they died. In fact, Captain Picard died 466 times during Star Trek.
Faster than the speed of soul.
That's just on-screen deaths.
What is the speed of soul?
That's our first record album in a time cast. First record album is faster than the speed of soul.
Damn. But yeah, no, the teleportation is scary. The replicators are pretty awesome because, I mean, if you think about it, everything is just different molecules.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, honestly, for this podcast alone, the holodeck has the most appeal, but I do agree it can get to a scary level of, I mean, honestly, think about it. If you, it also depends on what your ties are to the world right now. Like if you're a freaking 19-year-old dude fresh out of high school, the mandatory high school in 2021, 71, whatever, and you have no ties, you don't have a girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever your preference, you have no kids, no job.
Oh, you don't need a boy or a girlfriend. Now you can fulfill your every kink and become like the fursona you wanted to be and turn into an alligator man.
Interrupting asshole. So when you have no ties and your rich mother buys your freaking holodeck that's big enough to fit in your garage, and you have a pill, you had a shot at 3 years old that you never need sleep ever again. Your body just adapts to not need it. You have an ingested whatever of pills where you don't need sustenance. You don't need it. You don't ever have to leave this thing. And then when you step in, it's programmed with everything. And you think it, and you're there, and you feel it, and experience it, and you skydive, and you fly through space, and you punch Master Chief in the face. You do whatever the fuck you want to do. Why would you leave? Why would you? Would you be the person to leave, or would you be the person to stay? How long would you stay?
And just based off,
and if you put your fists on your hips and go, I would not stay in there. Really think about it. Really think about it. You can place yourself metaphysically in anything you want.
Any form of media, anything at all.
And be there as long as you want with all the experiences involved. If you die, fucking reset. You're back in it again. There's no consequences.
Nope. If you die, you die in real life.
God. Well, that's much scarier than anything.
Okay, so there's your fix, Adam. Chris just fixed it for you. You just have
now the holodecks actively kill people instead of just. So now humanity's even more doomed because nobody's gonna fucking. You think the creator of the holodeck's gonna mention that in their patch notes? Fuck no.
The savior of the human race per the holodeck. Severe fail states.
It's like, yep, no. And nobody know you fucking died. Because you're in the holodeck. Yep. And you're like, oh, it's just staying in there. Huh.
See, then you could push the ethics. It's like, well, I have kids in real life. All right, what if you can have any amount and any type of kids you want in the holodeck? Do you leave your kids behind? No, of course not. What would you if you could, would you?
What if you just made a program of you and then you threw your kids in the holodeck to raise them?
Oh, wow. Wow. Oh, man. That's going to do it for tonight's episode. So what do you think, audience, about holodecks and the growth of VR technology? Holy shit. If you could place yourself in any it's too good, it feels too real reality, would you? For how long? Would you not? Why wouldn't you? Any anime that Adam talked about, any anything that I talked about, Red Dead Redemption 2, what about you? Have you gone to that? Have you dove down the rabbit hole yet? Have you tried any of that stuff out? Have you had any Switch horrors like Chris has? Because, man, again, to quote Liam from Super Best Friends, Nintendo always makes a problem of something that shouldn't be a problem. Mm-hmm. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Anything else we talked about tonight or past episode, gaming, anime, movie, what the hell ever. We love to hear your feedback in any of these avenues. And there are many ways that you can get that feedback to us. You can go to Facebook and search for us. Just search for End of Time Cast. It'll bring you right to us. It may be how you found this episode right here. We have an email address. You can email us at endoftimecast@gmail.com. That's endoftimecast@gmail.com. No funny spelling in there with numbers or anything. Just spell it as you heard it. We have a Twitter page. You can tweet us, retweet us, any way that you'll get a hold of us. We would love for you to. We'd love to hear from you. It's one of the main reasons why we made this podcast to begin with. Last minute producer's note as well. Kind of been wanting to save this for a while because it's not all finished yet. It is a long work in progress, but I think, especially since I already have one up, I should let you guys know that it's going to be a long process. So I'm going through the lengthy process of converting all of our episodes to MP4 format, which don't get your hopes up, folks. We're not doing live video. We're not doing cams, any of that. It's literally just a picture of the logo in the background. And I'm making video forms of all of our episodes. We have close to 80 by now, so it's a lot of work to do that. Just the conversion alone, even with just a still picture, it's about an hour and a half to 2 hours per episode. That's me being in front of the computer doing that, letting it happen. The goal of this is for us to have all these episodes also uploaded to YouTube. So we do have a YouTube channel. We've actually had one forever. I've just never uploaded anything until now. The very first episode, not the 0 episode, because Adam doesn't want that out yet. The very first episode of End of Time Cast is uploaded. You can try to search YouTube for End of Time Cast, and you will find our channel maybe, and you should only see one episode, which is that first one. The uploading process for YouTube is it's in the neighborhood of 6 to 9 hours. So I have to do those like overnight and then start another one in the morning and hope it all takes place. So it's going to be a lengthy process. We're just bank on quite a few months before this process is finished. Once everything is finally converted and uploaded to YouTube, that will be a part of my normal post process, is converting and making a video of every episode as we do them and then uploading them to YouTube as well as SoundCloud. We've also tossed up the idea of uploading to other places, other podcast places, but we just haven't now. One subscription fee a year is good enough for my book so far, for my wallet so far, but that's just something to look forward to. It's another place you can check the podcast. If YouTube is a better option for you to listen to us, it will be a separate option. So I just want to throw that out there. But that's going to do it for tonight's episode. And until next time, I'm Michael.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Adam.
Good night, everybody.
You're not bitches, I love you.